Hi there, I'm Carrie Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman. This is our 21st Century Superhuman show. And today I am here with a wild bunch of ladies called the Godesses of GANS. And we have been having so much fun together. Hi, Angela. And today I'm going to ask you girls to introduce yourselves, and then we will go into our slideshow of this fantastic event, Expo, presentation that we just did in Yelm, Washington on our 21st Century Superhuman Many Hands for Peace. Whitney Fisher and I are on this tour across the US and Canada and probably the world, bringing plasma technology out into more greater awareness. And the really beautiful thing that happened here is Heather Bryant is very organized. She's a former scout leader and all these things, and she did such a great job of organizing this expo that we would like you to get an idea of how it took place and how you could do the same thing in your community. So that's why we're sharing this with you today. So ladies, go ahead. If you each want to take turns introducing yourself, we would love to hear who you are, where you're from, and what your magical art is that you bring to the table here.
Oh, we're going to start this in? Okay. So yes, that's kind of where part of my background is with that. I'm a physical therapist by training, but I've been enjoying and playing with this plasma technology for almost exactly a year now. We discovered the other day that we're at the 1-year anniversary of Keshe bringing the Magravs to the ambassadors, and that's when I really started listening to the technology and paying probably the most attention to the health applications and playing with that. And I think my love has been to listen to some of the processes, create some user-friendly, hopefully videos and PDFs, instruction sheets on the different parts of the process, and help to bridge that instruction to people who are wanting to play with the technology a little more deeper.
Awesome, Heather. And you're doing a really beautiful job at it. Thank you so much.
I am. Oh, why don't we introduce Angela next?
This is youngest goddess of GANS.
This is the youngest right here.
I can introduce myself.
Okay.
Good. My name is Andrew, and I don't know what she said to do.
She said to introduce yourself.
My name is Angela, and
what's your special talent with the Keshe
I just
stuff?
like to play with it.
She likes to play with it. Nice. So do we.
Yeah.
Very good. And Mom?
Okay, and my name is Colleen Black, and I'm Angela's mom, and I'm also an artist. So my specialty right now is playing with GANs in art and making special creations that heal and give you energy and all kinds of amazing things. Really.
Awesome, Angela and Colleen, thank you so much. And yes, you two bring beautiful things into the world. We love being around them.
Bye, cutie.
Bye. Carolyn.
And I'm Carolyn DeAngelis. I got involved with the Keshe movement when he put out his blueprint and said everyone download it on the computer. So I was like, what is this thing? And I heard and I thought, oh my God, I have to figure out how to do this. And I've been playing catch up ever since then. I do like to teach and have background in teaching, so I have a little group in the town I'm in. I've just started, and I will be hoping to do that, a moving tour and moving, whatever we call it, moving from place to place, hopefully teaching too. And I also have a healing background, energetic healing background, and I currently remove entities and implants.
Awesome, Carolyn. It was really fun to have you here and with us off and on this tour. And you've been doing a really great job of jumping in and helping teach. It's been really fun to have you along.
It's super fun for me to do that. I just love to find someone who just needs a little bit more information and fill in and going. That is what I do. It's true.
Hi, my name is Whitney Fisher. I'm from Montana, but now I'm on the road with everyone, helping bring plasma technology out to the world. And I've focused on it for the last year, but I've been on this trail for several years now to help bring out new technologies that will help alleviate our daily concerns and the things that we have going on so we can have more time to play. So I do have a healing background and have been studying and doing healing work since 2008-9 time. And I also ran karaoke before that. So yeah, karaoke and healing. Anyway,
She's a good singer. She's a good singer.
Besides that you're the science whiz kid, who I think inherited the bent from your grandpa, maybe.
Maybe, but you know, you've said it enough that I think that I am becoming the science whiz kid. But I've met amazing people that have shown me so much just in our few, well, it's not even a month yet, I think, that we've been on the road. So there are just amazing, talented people out there, and we've been just sharing our keys together. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Hello, I'm Linda Cromer, and I'm the comedian of the group. But I'm Heather Bryant's sidekick, plasma partner, and my videographer. And I love playing with the plasma and experimenting with it to see what all it will do and capable of doing. I think it's unlimited thus far. I believe it's unlimited is what it's capable of doing. But anyways, yes, good intro.
Awesome. Thank you, girls. That's fantastic. And why don't we jump right in and look at the slideshow, and we can kind of all talk about what happened over this last week. It's been amazing, and we're learning from wonderful people as we go. Everything on this tour has been, it's said that we are all learners, doers, and teachers. So not only are we presenting and teaching, but we're also learning from everyone who comes. And it's been an amazing journey and continues to be. So I'll switch us over to screen sharing, and then we can all jump in and kind of review what happened over the last week and tell our story and maybe inspire other people to say, wow, we could do that in our town. And we'd love to see, and as the Keshe Foundation keeps encouraging us to spread the plasma technology and this information so people understand how to feed their towns and villages, how we have resources in the case of disasters, how to build power units, car units, and healing units, health units that are just amazing. So we're going to see some bits and pieces of this and hopefully get inspired to begin living this technology more in all of our local communities.
Yes.
So I'll pop onto screen sharing here. Just give me 1 second. And we'll go view
We have something
full screen. So there we go. We're probably still visible just in the corner, but if you guys want to move the computer so that your voices are a little more clear, feel free to do that. And this starts out with the flyer that Heather made. We did a Tuesday night slideshow and introduction at a really wonderful theater here called the Triad Theater. And then we did the expo and workshop, 2-day expo at the Lions Club, which was a really nice, cool building to do that in. Heather, do you want to say anything about this before we go on?
Yeah, we looked at doing kind of a progression of things this week, which was just perfect and awesome. That so that's probably my daughter trying to call. That led from one thing to the next, where we just had the Triad Theater program one night. It's a beautiful local space, and they do a lot of beautiful advertising and information, and have a regular community anyways that attends the activities there. She always knows when I'm doing something.
Any chance you can turn that stuff off, whatever it is that's ringing through? Or
I am
all
attempting to. There she goes. Linda's going to talk to her. And so that led into the Sunday Expo, where the idea was to have a kind of a health fair setup type of a thing with tables going around the room and learning the different key components, and then just to give a quick summary, and then we'll go through details. And then on the Monday was more in-depth workshop where people could bring in the things that they were working on, partially created Magravs, partially created car units, things like that, and then get assistance with those.
Right, because the exciting thing about this community was there was already quite a bit of knowledge in the community. And
Yes.
I think the expo helped stir that up. We were like stirring the pot of soup a little bit. And people who thought that they couldn't do it, and it helped them learn that there were some simpler tools. And those who were already a little more advanced got a little help on moving themselves along. So
yes, and everybody helped each other. I mean, there were people there, so we'll show pictures of them. And then I was going to say that, we just chose to do a couple of different pricing ticket levels, where people that didn't know anything about the technology but were just curious could just come in and walk around. And then we had another level that, they would actually make something at each table as they went around.
that was
And some
perfect.
people
Yeah.
came in, just with the curious ticket, and then they'd come back to the door and say, hey, wait a minute, I want to make some of this stuff and take it home. So
Heather had a great way to say it. She called it fly on the wall. So
Yeah, it was really cute.
yeah, they took that well. I guess it went over. Yeah.
Cool. So we drove to Washington, and it's a beautiful area near Mount Rainier, and getting to stay at this lovely little country household. And what happened as soon as we got here was we began sharing our GANSes with each other. And there's a health tube from Dr. Rodrigo there. It's a feeding tube, actually, with all different kinds of GANSes in it, food GANSes, amino acid GANSes going in the cup of coffee. And then Heather and her household have this pitcher with the tube in the middle that they just add really good filtered well water to, but the tube in the middle always has plasma water in it. And then there's a health cup in the background and a spray bottle. This is a household that is immersed in the plasma field. Right, girls?
And this house has been plasmified from one end to the next.
One of the ladies that came up from Houston, Yasmin, printed these cute little shirts that say "We are plasma." They're right side up when you look at them in the mirror. So here we are sitting at the table. Heather just got out all of her stuff and started making health patches for us. She's got, Heather, how many GANSes do you think you have? How many different kinds? I lost count.
Probably about 15 or 20, I think. Maybe.
No, I think you have more than that.
Okay.
I bet you have at least 30.
Okay.
And what's really beautiful about this, it's such an example of, we can make food GANSes, amino acid GANSes, we can make vitamin GANSes, things like cannabis oil and other herbs, gold, silver, of course, the usual trifecta, CO2, zinc, copper, and iron. But it's just amazing, this beautiful array of GANSes that you had to share with us.
Yeah, and we all had ours. You guys brought yours. We brought ours out, and then it's like an exchange. Instead of exchanging recipe cards or baseball cards, we're exchanging GANS and plasma waters. Which
very beautiful. Yeah, and the neat thing about this was we learned we enjoy as ladies using fabric to kind of denote what is in that GANS patch. So the different colors of fabric help us identify them. Some of the purists like to not put fabric in there, which could be done as well. And then you can label the name of the GANS patch, but you can actually set one of these patches next to a bottle of water, next to your food, put it in your bed, in your clothes, in your pocket, and you'll be getting the emanations of this GANS.
Yep, that little 1.5 foot field goes nicely. It perpetuates itself.
This was such a fun and delightful process, and I'm so happy to have these. Now, this is the next thing you jumped into, which was so cool. And remember, we're all doing this preparation. We're so excited because we've really been working together online for quite a while, but we just met for the first time. And a number of us, Godesses of GANS, came from different places and met up. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and this was just created for the expo. I just had an idea that we'd have a plasma experience corner where we'd have a massage table out. You know, people could play with the patches, play with different kinds of pins that were, you know, actually tied to strings next to the chair, which was fun. There were 5 or 6 different health pins in there. And we had Dr. Rodrigo's health panels. We'll see pictures in a minute. But for this one, I wanted an overlay to lay on the massage table that people could lay on like a full body size patch. So we made 2 different ones. They were both CO2 zinc plasma water. And we just kind of sealed it about every 3 or 4 inches along the length of it. And then we made them purposefully 2 different strengths. They were 2 different batches. So one was a lot stronger than the other by the testing and the way that we do it, so that there would be movement of the pins.
Yeah, and Mr. Keshe is always very adamant about that. You want to have things that are not equal so that it causes the energy to move from one to the next. So it was fun employing that principle, and this was one of the favorite things actually at the expo. People loved lying on this and had
a lot of really good feedback from that. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great idea. This was another one of Heather's fun toys she had made. She made a health pen. But Heather, what was this inside?
Well, we call it the lightsaber because it was made from a candy container that looks like a lightsaber. It just happens to have a little blue light in it. So we just took the candy out and then made a 3-part health cannon, I guess, that you would put in there. And that's the picture of the parts of it.
Really
fun.
fun.
GANS.
Fun to play.
Yeah, it's apparently pretty powerful for water. You can sit it down in a 10-gallon water container and plasmafy the water.
So Whitney, you want to share a little bit how it was for you walking into this household?
Wow, I can feel all the plasma, and I slept on a bed that had tons of plasma.
She's still buzzing.
I'm still buzzing, yes. But what a lovely feeling to everything. And I've been wowed at the plants outside. They're really like a lot. They have got some plants in their garden that have grown like double the size of what they usually grow. And they have a tree that's produced a whole bunch of apples when it wasn't really producing much apples. And there's just a magical feeling to Heather and Linda's place. They call it Wonderland.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. And they've sprayed the top of the roof with CO2 water. And what's really neat, and what I found what I'm going to do on my own too, is they'll take home like lettuce from the store, and then they'll spray it with CO2 GANS water and let it, or the plasma water. So just to be clear, we're using the clear water from the GANS. We don't use the particles. We just harvest the clear water and keep that separate and then spray that on things. But if you spray your vegetables and let them dry completely before you put them in the fridge, they'll last a lot longer. In fact, I think they fed us some lettuce that was maybe 2 months old.
2 months beyond the expiration date.
Beyond the expiration date. But it's great. It's actually perfect. And yeah, here's the little magic spray bottle of just, looks just like water. And so yeah, everything gets sprayed here. It's wonderful.
When people come in the house, Linda's going to spray everything that moves and maybe some things that don't.
I have spots on my computer that I have tape over because I don't like to put my hands on the computer. And somebody said to me, "Oh, I hope you have GANS patches on there." And I said, "Oh, I hadn't even thought of that." And the next thing I know, Heather's handing me a couple of GANS patches. So it's so nice to be in a household where this is just being used so readily for everything. And really nice example. And I've learned so many new ideas to implement. And there's Yasmin, who flew all the way up from Houston to be part of what we're doing as one of the Godesses of GANS. Delightful presence to have with us. There's our space fleet, we call it. We got all these silver cars. So we're all aiming for and looking for the ways to get our cars to float above the ground.
That's how women coordinate.
Unintentionally, too.
Without even trying. And somebody actually took this picture while we were in this change going on, one of Whitney's friends, and it was reminding us of Contact. So Heather pulled up this picture from the movie Contact because we felt like we were really in the middle of a really great transformational cycle. So the first thing Heather did is took us out to have lunch with a couple of ladies who had been helping her put all of this together. And that was really fun. And just all the little things Heather did, I think, that are really unique pieces of how she put this together. They were very thoughtful and well thought through, and they all had meaning. So we all got to meet each other right away and get to be friends and talk about what was going on with the event, and kind of just, you know, kind of weave our energies together to work together on the program. We had this yummy food. And then the next thing we did is went to the Triad Theater, where we were going to do the slideshow presentation, the panel with Dr. Rodrigo, and that has already become a 21st Century Superhuman show. James Gilliland was going to come, but we ended up with a bad weather cycle coming through. He was going to speak on Friday night, so we hoped we'd get to see him, but didn't. But this is a really neat old theater in downtown Yelm, and you girls can go ahead and share about this setup. This was Anna, who was our AV person, and she ended up coming to the entire expo and just had a blast.
Oh yes, yes, that was beautiful to see the people that were there that night show up at the expo, you know, for more information and for more fun, and actually to contribute the things that they already knew. Dr. Rodrigo's done such a great job of getting the information out here. But I think you were trying to show, like, the theater is just beautiful. It's you know, hometown theater, beautifully set up. You know, you can even sit in couches and easy chairs and hang out there. And a lot of the people that go there on a regular basis for various things, and they bring a lot of consciousness, people and information in there anyways. So I think Carrie was almost a celebrity to them. They were pretty excited to have her there.
It was really wonderful how you set this up, and it was a nice derivation from, we had been teaching just workshops on the tour, but this opened up a whole new model, which actually we really are liking, because it gave, this is still everybody in, this is in the pre-show time period, and people starting to come in and hanging out and visiting with each other. This theater is completely run by local volunteers, and they bring different foods and sell them. It's just a beautiful, unique setting. It was so much fun.
And out here in the front, there she goes. Joelle was serving the Avatar smoothie water, so, you know, people would have that to drink as they were coming in and out and during the breaks.
And tell us what the Avatar smoothie water is, so that has meaning to people.
Grab the jug. It's a mixture of several of the plasma waters. It's the CO2 zinc and amino acid plasma water and CH3 and just a little drop of copper oxide. Keep it going. Oh, it's the one that we keep on the, yeah.
Nice. So we had plasma water there for everybody to drink. There's Anna again. She just loved what we shared, and this is the theater starting to fill up with people.
Great job bringing the audio and visual and everything together with what we had and what your intentions were for your program. So.
Yeah, it was great. There's Heather doing a little introduction. And we had a great guy who videoed it for us. So that, again, has turned into a wonderful 21st Century Superhuman show. There's a slideshow that we do that really gives a great overview of what the Keshe technology is all about, so people can get a vision of how the health pens make, you know, freeze into plasmatic fields in the ice, and what happens to the fruit trees as they grow. I mean, it's just a really, people get really inspired by this presentation. And there's Whitney's Many Hands for Peace idea, bringing vitality to our world. And we had this wonderful panel that was, each person spoke, and this again is on the video of that that particular show. We have Dr. Go ahead.
To add that Carrie does a beautiful job of bringing, you know, not just the information, but the consciousness behind it, the drive for the coordination of peace on the planet, bringing together just the group that is in there, you know, to begin with, and you know, the group GANS that was made, you know, and perpetuated, that she brings across the country. You call it the composite GANS.
And that's the GANS of peace, carrying the peace energy from all these different oceans and people infusing into it. And then we're sharing that with people as we go and adding more water from more places. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, beautiful representation of the whole package of all of this.
And we were very blessed to have Dr. Rodrigo there, and he spoke. This was one of the participants who, Gunter, who's kind of taking responsibility for keeping Many Hands for Peace kind of community going here, continuing to work on plasma projects together. And each one of us took a turn speaking and sharing, and made a really nice, wonderful show. And then we had different people in the audience come up and share. This is Bruce. He shared with us about a really nice little DC connector that we can use to help moderate when we're using a power source with making our GANs. And there's Dr. Rodrigo and Heather.
At least we coordinated our shoes.
I noticed that. Gunter and his GANs.
Do you want to say something about what Gunter had around his neck there? That was
That was kind of cool.
quite amazing.
What is it, Gunter?
Heather, go ahead. Whitney, go ahead.
Do you remember the details of it, Whitney? I remember some of it.
He had the GANs of his medications. So he made a GANs of his medications and then in one vial, and it just was a simple plastic tube with corks on the end, and then it was duct taped onto a rope. and the other vial was food GANs. So he's already noticed that he's not as hungry. He's already noticed that he's decreased some of his taking of some of his medication. He's just doing it as he feels, and he's really paying attention to his body. So, he's being his own pioneer into this, because potentially we don't have to take a whole bunch of medications. The gals here have made GANs of every one of their supplements and thyroid medicine.
Yeah.
I think he said, though, his blood pressure had kind of gone down to normal with doing this. So
yeah, he also came up and he just wanted to say he'd gone to the dentist, and that his dentist registered that his blood pressure was a little bit higher than he thought. So he didn't know if that counted, but he is definitely feeling better from what he's doing, and so he's just doing it on as he feels.
And a thing from that is he wasn't even, a planned person for our expo, and he ended up being a very key person. He wanted to work on the table that they were making the coils, and he ended up teaching a lot, and he just kind of popped out. A lot of people just popped out of the woodwork to be key people for the next couple days.
Yes,
he did. Somebody told us this was the biggest buzz that had been in that theater in a while. So
Wow.
We all had a lot of fun. And there's Leave, who has been on the right. He's been helping us do some promotion. He's really got a hold of us and said, we want to help you guys get this going. So we went out to Dr. Rodrigo's place and visited with him and got to see his health units. Whitney's blowing in or breathing through an air tube that he's made wrapped in plasma water that is for helping elevate the body systems. Beautiful.
You're breathing in the CO2. What's really super neat about everything that everybody's doing is we're using things you can find at the regular store.
Yes.
And making the simplest possible solutions that take care of it. So Rodrigo, he was a plastic surgeon, and he has an amazing story. And he's built this amazing bridge device that you're probably going to bring up pictures of next. And but everything is going simpler. So he's really pushing to simplify the technology.
And so this is one of and Whitney, you can speak to this too, but this tubing all just came from a local hardware store, and the little sealers are from sprinkler system. You can, just to buy at Lowe's or one of the hardware stores. And then there's little straps. I don't know what you call those things, twist or little tie things. What are they called?
Zip ties.
Zip ties, yeah. And so the purpose of breathing through this tube with another tube filled with plasma water wrapped around it. What is the purpose of that? Whitney, can you share about that a little bit?
So you're energizing the air with the particles that you need to feed your body. So you're actually breathing in the basic elements, the carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. Well, CO2 would be carbon and oxygen. And those are the building blocks of the body. So that you're physically breathing in micronutrients.
Yeah, and for a few dollars, you have, a thing for people with asthma, for people with
COPD.
COPD. I think you mentioned this unit actually even for the autism kind of recommendations.
Beautiful.
So that breathing in the plasmified air into their lungs as well as drinking it through the drinking water, right? And or maybe taking a bath in it or, other ways of.
Simple methods of creating an environment where the body can heal itself.
Yeah, this is going to really revolutionize a lot of things. Wow.
And he's so passionate about everything. If you look at his hands are always up when he's talking in the pictures. And this is Carrie, right before getting into this. This is called the bridge. And it's an amazing healing device. It's not plugged into electricity at all. It drains into a bottle of salt water. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And the helmet is actually made out of zinc wire. Then it's adjustable up and down with a fishing lure. Fishing,
Yep.
Beautifully put together by Rodrigo here. And here's Carrie. What did it feel like when you got into the...
Amazing. Very peaceful and equalizing, balancing, but also that he invited us to ask permission, to offer love. One of the really nice things that one of the other guys here, Dwayne, who we'll get to meet in a little bit, said is, the Magrav, the magnetic gravitational fields ask us to give and receive. So when we participate with a unit that's been built like this, where it's amplified plasmatic fields, we also give. We come and give love and invite the interchange. And I just did some really high, prayers and visioning and just aligning with my higher self and field while I was in there. It was really fun and very uplifting, energetic. Whitney, going in?
Yeah, and I remember some of the things you were saying. You want to express that?
Yeah, so it really
beautiful.
Felt like 20 people focusing energy on you at one time. It was absolutely lovely to stand there. And of course, everybody wishes we could be there longer. And just to tell a quick story about what has happened in the last 10 days with this bridge is that there is a little, actually, this is him. That was him. There's a boy that wished that someone would help him with his hearing, and he made a wish, and he was participating in a local Romp the School project, and he made that wish and put it on the fence and found his card. And there's a whole story about that. But he, right after he did that, Rodrigo called him and asked if he would want to participate in the healing process with this device. And it's been 10 days as of 2 days ago, and he has heard sounds without his hearing aids. Now that's amazing. And so he's 10, and he lost his hearing when he was 17 months old. Wow. So he's had hearing aids his whole life, and so it's amazing. And his mother says that he can kind of become unruly a little bit sometimes, and now he's very calm. The kid.
And just to be really clear to Dr. Rodrigo, who is on the Keshe medical team, encourages us to build our own health units. And he has smaller ones, which we'll see in a little bit, but any of us can do this. This is not that complicated of a technology, and we can build these units, smaller ones and new ones that are coming, and begin to serve our own well-being. This is an older helmet that he had made. This is where the salt water drains off. Whatever's leaving our body drains off the salt water or leaving our energy field. So we're going to look a little more as we go through the slides at his different health units that were at the Expo. This is his Magrav unit. and he's getting ready to build 4 of them to go on each corner of the, and that's his capacitors that are part of his Magrav units. Again, they're to go on each corner of the big health unit and create kind of a more activated field. This is a small health unit, and he had someone come to him who had cancer on their hand, and he had them stick their hand in between these. They took one of these units home, stuck their hand in there for a month. At the end of the month, there was no more cancer, and the person had been recommended to have their hand amputated. So at the end of the month, there was no more cancer and not even a scar, anything, nothing visible showing anymore. So it is amazing to use these magnetic gravitational coils, and in these health units, they're set at 90 degrees, which is different from the power units, and they're connected in a certain way, and they activate a plasmatic field, which allows the body to discover its own greater well-being by exposure to it. These are some really neat, they're actually basically a health pen that's been cut at the top so the energy can either go up or down. And Whitney and I think, are going to make a video pretty soon. She's been having a lot of amazing connections between the staff of Anubis, the staff of Horus, things from ancient Egypt and Atlantis. And, you know, we're starting to, and I'm seeing things from things I'm connected with that are, I'm wearing a pendant that she keeps calling it the flywheel, because she says it has the same angles that were on the coral the alternating magnetic gravitational fields that the guy used to raise the stones for the coral castle. So we're going to put out a video pretty soon on this really exciting information. Whitney, you want to toss out anything about these?
It's just kind of the Indiana Jones hunt for wonderful clues, and everything seems to correlate together. We've also been looking at, we've been synchronistically around golden Buddhas and different Buddha centers. And if you look in the statues of the Buddhas, they always have something very interesting in their hands. So we're looking at what is the structure, because these pens are pulling in the ambient energy from all around, using their structure, and you're nano coating it, and you're creating an opposite of the structure you're pulling in. It's really neat.
And the Buddha that we saw, that we taught by in Vancouver Island, had a double infinity loop in its hand. So what's so cool is, I think what we're coming into with this plasmatic technology is an understanding of many symbols that the ancients were carrying that they actually knew how to use for probably interstellar travel and all different kinds of things. And we're just beginning to understand the science of the use of those tools at this point. So this is some of Dr. Rodrigo's, he really beautiful, very skilled at teaching.
And on the POTS part, just that he relayed that it's actually advantageous to have a round-sided pot for making the nano coating if you're going to do it that way. That the straight-sided ones didn't create the field like the round ones did. There's a difference in the nano coating as far as how the steam circulates in a pot that has like round sides as opposed to straight up and down. Anyway.
The art of nano coating, beautiful. Lovely coils. So we had a really great time with him, wonderful being, and great skills being shared. So the next place Heather took us, which was so much fun, was a meeting of the whole team of people who were getting ready to put on this expo after our first Tuesday night event. And so we had lunch at a restaurant together, and everybody met up and enjoyed each other's company, got to know each other. And then Heather did a little bit of instructing as to how she had figured the plan should work for us to implement the expo. Heather,
and that really helped the flow of everything. Heather really kind of had a visual in her head of what she needed, and it really did help the flow. For the amazing event and how fast it happened. It was amazing coordination. And you see she's got a board there. We were planning out where she thought the tables could be the best. And yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Heather, you want to say anything about that?
She stepped away from
She
the
jumped
moment.
on the bed.
No worries. A couple of our team. And so we had this beautiful weather. It was a huge storm was supposed to be coming in. People were writing us, how's the weather, on the Northwest coast? And but the weather cleared readily by the time we were ready to go in, and some nice cloud ships over Rainier. And the second we got to the building to go set up, of course, the rainbows appeared. Seems to be part of our journey here with the amplified plasmatic fields. So this was just lovely. Go ahead and jump in, anybody that would like to. We'll just kind of look through.
We thought that we'd include some pictures of us setting up, just to anybody who wants to make one of these events. We've put different tables that have themes on them, and flow kind of nano coating, pens, health patches, power devices. It was a really nice flow. Everyone really liked going to the different tables and experiencing it. So there we go, and that's all labeled. Drilling table.
There's the massage table with the pads that Heather had made for people to lie on with the GANS and the GANS plasma water in them. And then Dr. Rodrigo's partial health unit there on the left that he sent with us for people to sit next to. This is Linda testing it out. She decided the chair needed a carpet underneath it.
Yeah, that's how we discovered that it wasn't going to work without a big piece of carpet under there. And we were very thankful for Linda. That's Heather's pocket. I just had to take that picture because she had so many pens stuffed in there.
So we did quite a few hours of setup, really. We had all things packed up, many boxes and bags of materials and supplies. And Nikki came down from Vancouver Island. She helped put on the Vancouver Island workshop, and she's the one who met Mr. Keshe 20 years ago at a meditation workshop in California and knew he was speaking wonderful things then. And she's really dedicated, really skilled at doing many of these plasma and coil tools. So she's helping lead a group up there on Vancouver Island and came down to spend the week with us. Just the setup process.
It was like an art project. We just had so much fun, and it what's nice is that we've kind of allowed it to be what it is. So we've done a lot of hand drawing of things, and it's nice to be in a little bit more of a relaxed setting that way. Let's see. It's Yasmin.
Yasmin. Yeah, when you say a relaxed, Whitney, when you say a relaxed setting, are you meaning going from like more of the expo than the workshop?
Yeah, I mean, it really feels welcoming, and it's not, it's not really corporate in the feeling. It feels more welcoming and more homey, and people feel very much at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce the STAR unit?
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
Wow.
The STAR unit. Oh. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
Wayne and Belinda, they responded to Mr. Keshe making a comment to one of the workshops many months ago. If you can build a magnetical gravitational coil that's big enough for someone to sit in, that would be great. And wow, it is there. It was the first time in operation. He finished it like at 10 a.m. that morning and got it and brought it by 1 p.m. And it felt like it was so nostalgic just being a part of having this beautiful device come in the door and be assembled. I wanted to cry the entire time. I think many of us were just looking at this and not knowing what we would feel like getting in it. And what would you guys feel like? What were your experiences?
It definitely, when you sat there and if you gave love or something, anything that was a loving or tender emotion, you would get it back a lot. Like, you know, that would bring on the tears sort of thing. And it was just pretty awesome. And Wayne, the one who built that, he had awesome information for us for the workshop. So we were just gifted. I kept seeing flashes of newspaper articles of like a newspaper 10 years from now saying, and this was the first prototype of this. So I really think we were making history, and that these people we met there are going down in history. And as I say that, I get all these chills. It's going down in history.
Yeah. Yeah, we laugh at that. We're you know, wearing these crazy helmets and we're sitting in these crazy devices, but we really know it's so important.
Right.
We know that this is going to help change this world and rid our world of dis-ease and so many things. So we're willing to put the foil on our head, you know?
Yeah. For me, sitting in there 10 minutes was like changing everything that felt out of balance in my body was instantly in balance. It was amazing.
Wow.
So in the middle there, because of the coils and how they're made, a non-physical crystal forms in there. And that's a really coherent energy right in the middle there.
Very coherent. So this guy, Steve, was kind of a cabinet maker, and he made these beautiful, what are these, Whitney? He brought these.
They're coil winding boxes, and they even had like a reel in there with different kinds of bars. They're just gorgeous, well made, and you know, he's responding to helping people build coils by supporting in the way that he knows best. And none of us really are looking to create these huge businesses. You know, we all want to help from our heart to shift the world the very best we can. And so it's interesting when he brings in these beautiful things and then he and his wife can't figure out what to charge for them, you know? So it's just such a labor of love, and you can see his love in this, in the box and how well made it is.
Definitely. Really nice. What a gift that was to have that present with us. And there's Wayne, Dwayne, the builder of the star unit, as we call it.
So Dwayne was there. He, such an amazing, heart-centered man, sounded in on all of our conversations and helped share a lot of information from his ability to build that device. It was pretty amazing.
And yes, all these different units that people were able to participate with.
There's Colleen's 100th monkey. I love him.
Hey, Colleen, you want to tell us about him a little bit?
That's the 100th monkey. When I first started with the Keshe Foundation, I would paint while I work, while I would listen to Mr. Keshe and just try and take in what he was saying. I'd gone through a lot of changes myself and just realizing what was going on in the world and wanting to do something about it. And I've just had that bug in me my whole life. And so when this came along, it really opened the door for me because I saw the opportunities that I could use in art. So I used GANS to paint my art with. This particular painting did not have any GANS in it, believe it or not, because I was just beginning the painting when I was listening to the technology, so I hadn't had any GANS made. I did spray the back of the canvas with CO2. This is an oil painting. And now what I do is use the powdered GANS inside of the mediums that I use. I use them in certain colors. And this particular painting is not quite finished yet. Like there's just a whole bunch more dimensions that I'm gonna be putting in there. So I'm gonna add a lot more to it, and then it will make sense to all of us Magravly.
Nice. It's beautiful, Colleen. It's just gorgeous. Really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful art you're sharing.
Nice story of the 100th monkey too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So an infinity cube.
Yep. We had Bruce going around measuring a lot of things. He was kind of a techie guy. There's the star unit, as it's currently being called. Wayne working on it.
That was incredible. I when I get in contact with the fields, I get like I can feel it right away in my heart. I can feel like like butterflies in my stomach kind of a thing. And I get different feelings. I can get little tinglies in my hands or tinglies in my feet. That immediately I got in it and I just started to cry because I just realized the intensity of the field that's in it. Yeah. I don't have a lot of health problems that I know of, but I don't think there's any really. I think everything's fixed now. So yeah, so it's amazing.
So this was our really Sunday morning. I don't have these 100% in order, but Heather did her slideshow on Sunday morning, and what you guys had set up 12 chairs, and the place ended up just being completely packed.
I think we ended up pulling out every chair in the building, which was just beautiful, and it was nice for me to be able to do my slideshow. I prepared one for Arizona, and then things kind of didn't work out for PowerPoint to be part of that, and there were gifts in that, which was fine. But it was nice to be able to do my PowerPoint and give Carrie maybe a morning off where she could do some of the other blue million things that she does to produce her shows and things like that. So it was a great co-creation.
Thank you. And Heather, I want to thank you so much for printing and laminating these beautiful different explanation pages that have been coming from all different people that are part of the growing Keshe Foundation. They've been contributed by people all over the world, and how to make health patches and disaster relief and dental care and all different kinds of things. So the fact that these were just printed and laminated and people could look at them, and I'm working on a page at the 21stcenturysuperhuman.com website to make it so people can download them. Many of them are downloadable at Golden Age of GANS on Facebook. And any other thoughts on that, Heather? These were really just so educational and helpful to have out.
Yeah, it just made sense to me to have hard copies of those around where people were, maybe waiting for a moment on the chair, or, they were making their patches and they were trying to figure out what to do with them and how to use them. And their documents, most of them are just things that I've done along the way, give people explanation of how and what to do with their information. So as they came in the door, as part of our organization of the Expo, we gave them just a one-page list on the front. It had the list of resources where they could go and print these things out.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of the paper that you handed out at the door, but again, you had done a lot of work on that, put together resources. You had the peace treaty on the back of it, so they could sign the peace treaty. And then you had a little checklist for each table. If the people who had paid the amount to come and participate at each table, they could get it checked off that they had made a health pen or made a health pad. That was really neat.
Girl Scout coming up.
Yeah, that was good.
It was fun.
Again, Dr. Rodrigo's part of his health, one of his health units, mobile one. Anybody want to talk about this a little bit?
Well, what came up for me was I was really amazed and presently pleased the feedback we got about that massage table with the overlay. People were saying that they felt a lot of things shift, a lot of things move. It was very pleasant, put them kind of in a little Zen space. And we had people just coming back to it over and over and over. And then we kind of go next to them and say, okay, when you're done there, then, there's somebody else that would like to be part of that.
And so the truth is, people can make GANs at home, and and that's what people are learning at our workshops, and we're going to be putting up more videos on how to do this. And then a person could make these at home and use them with their own massage table, or just to lie down on and help balance the body out.
I wanted to offer as well that Jeannie, a local plasmologist, she really, she was almost in tears, and the excitement in her eyes when she was telling me about how the feedback from everyone getting on this table, and it was amazing the results that people were having. And even our friend Nikki when she left this morning, Heather and Linda commented that she was standing more upright from being on the patches. That it helped her body.
Yeah.
There's
really
Nikki on the left there.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Here's a pain patch table, and pretty simple to put together. It's got 2 automatic sealing devices and 3 different kinds of GANSes and
GANS waters.
GANS waters. Plasma water, and everybody got to cut a little piece of the material and make their own health balance patch.
Yeah, so they had the set, the standard set of 2 CO2 patches, a CH3 and a copper oxide. And it also, the beauty of this table I like is that you show them how easy it is to make that. They can take their own patch, put it under a jar of distilled water, and then that water becomes plasmified in the way that they can go and make more patches from that for their friends and family and neighbors. And you could just see people's light bulbs turn on when they figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, really? The abundance principle that follows this technology is just so beautiful.
There was a table with Heather's patches on it for people to put their own water bottles on it, and the water bottles were lined up behind it.
No, we didn't take pictures of that table. Yeah, the Plasmify Your Own Water Bottle table.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the guys who came to the event, and I need to take his paper and load it up online and load it to the website, but it explains that principle of once you have some water that has been plasmified, you just never dump it all out and keep adding to it, and you just keep plasmifying the water or putting a patch under your water, whatever.
And it's so beautiful when people heard that and they got it. It's like you kind of tell that to them a few times. They're like, really? Really? And then when they get it, they're like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
So there's much more to this this Keshe Plasma Technology than just making mechanical units. It's so much more than that. And these tools are excellent for disaster relief, for helping purify water, for helping clean up eco-disasters, helping our bodies find greater balance. That was Joelle, who was one of our wonderful helpers, and I was teaching the carbon stick GANS method, and as soon as she learned it, she started teaching it. It was great.
So excited she could teach it now.
Yeah.
I just learned it and I can teach it now.
And that was the point too, right?
Yeah, it was really fun.
Now that was the Plasmify Your Life table. Did you go back to that one?
Beautiful.
Walk people through kind of where they could put the patches. They could put it, on their lotion, on their shampoo, on their toothpaste. They could put a little spray bottle and spray it around the garden. And we had some demonstration with the vegetables and fruits there, of spraying it onto there. And it just really made a lot of connections for people. It meant a lot, it seemed, to have that hands-on look at that and play with that, where they can actually go home now and say, oh, this is what I use my little CO2 patch for that I made on that table over there.
Definitely.
Yeah, their little eyes just get so bright when they realize all the applications for that one little patch that they got.
You're definitely the queen of the patches, Heather.
Yes. Well, my CO2 patch instruction sheet's 7 pages long. It's like,
And Heather is making such a big impact for the entire world because she and Linda are keeping the data on all this and making it so that they can share it with the world. It's really incredible. So,
yes.
It's
Linda's
going to be. Excuse me. You'll see it, like that table there has this little kit on it, and it's a kit that we created for our friends in Arizona when we did the program there, so that they could go home and make GANs. So it's following the method that I learned from Mike in California. He had put a trifecta GANs idea down, and I kind of modified it so that it would be something you could put in a package and you could hand to your friends, and they can go home and make all 3 kinds of GANs at once.
That is awesome. You even have salt in the end of that package. And then you've got a copper coil for each GANS, right? And then you've got a nano-coated copper coil for each GANS, and then you've got a plain copper coil, a plain piece of iron, and a plain piece of zinc. And what a wonderful and then your little connectors to let them trickle their charge from one to another, their natural charge, right?
Yeah, it utilizes the excess electric current from the CO2 creation to run the other two. And it's just a nice natural process. You don't have to use batteries and things like that. And within, well, we set up the one that's in the picture right there the night before. So by the next morning, it was making all 3 GANs, which is great for this setting, you know. If you're going to do an expo, you're going to set up your tables the night before, then you have GANs being made on the table to show people. And even the amino acids were starting to grow, so we're able to show them, you know, what those look like, how to capture them, and how to rinse as part of the expo. Which is
and then we had on the other end of the table, we ended up with the carbon stick method, but we also had ping pong balls there and different balls showing how to begin putting the plasma water into the balls. And in the middle of the table, that turquoise top thing is one of the original little GANs making units from the Keshe Foundation. And I think Kevin Blundell originally designed that and was producing it. So that's how I originally learned how to make GANs. It was such a great little teaching tool. And I run into people all the time that have had those. So what a great learning process.
Let's see. Oh, that's the one that Gunter ended up working at, right? So somebody, you know, that just randomly came to one of our events earlier in the week ended up being the one basically running that table.
That was really cool.
It really do a lot of education with people, and we let them each make this little coil that they were going to need to go home and make their trifecta kit with.
Nice.
The hands-on experience is what it seemed to just the most important thing about the entire workshop, is that everybody got a little bit of experience with it so they could see how incredibly easy it was, and to see that most of the materials are from, you know, the dollar store or something.
Right.
I mean, it's really inexpensive as far as getting into being able to make some of these things.
One of the things we love with nano coating is once people make a small coil or a health pen, when we're teaching our workshops, we just use Ziploc baggies and some spray caustic and spray it into the baggie and usually double bag it. And by the time the people are going home, their material is already nano coating, and they get to see how really simple that process
And
is.
some of them brought it back the next day, and they were just all excited. Look, I nano coated.
I know.
Oh, Angela has something to add.
Go ahead, Angela.
My mom really likes to make it really playful, and sometimes she even makes toy GANs.
Ooh,
Nice.
GANs. Wonderful.
We made a dollar bill GAN. We made money GANs too, so we
Oh.
need a little bit of that.
Oh,
Cute.
So
Manifestation from the abundance of the universe, right?
yeah.
that's right.
So this was our little diagram of how the tables were set up. It just gave us a working method to work together and get things well set up and kind of an organized flow. It wouldn't have to be exactly like this. So you could use your own creativity, but it was fun to have. And actually, didn't you pick that board up at the thrift store like during the week when we went in there one day? And
Right.
it was great.
Yeah, stuff just shows up when you need it.
Exactly.
It was nice we were able to go into the place the night before and set up, which is very nice. If, you know, someone's setting up something like this, if you have the for that, then really it's helpful to set up the night before.
I think too, there's something that the plasma brings out, which is tuning into the abundance of the universe. And I don't even know how to exactly explain that, but we are tapping into such an abundant energy field that we are learning how to operate in this world in new ways in relationship to abundance, just flowing to us, what we need flowing to us and appearing as we need it, you know, thinking something and there it is. And
yeah.
Wouldn't you all say that's a really beautiful part of this?
Yeah, to me, it's a natural part of the way the plasma works. It's going out and bringing in what's useful for balance and for your intended creations. It obviously works quite well. So yeah, that was fun for me to do a presentation. I haven't done one in about 5 years, so I just want to encourage people, you know, if you're not really the speaker person, which I'm not, It's really fun. You know, you just kind of connect with the people, you bring up the slides and say whatever comes up for you about that. If you've been around the technology for a while, you could talk about this stuff for hours. You know, the hard part is narrowing it down into a 3-hour talk. You know, you could go on for sure. And it was a lot of audience participation. There was an opera coach that was teaching me how to use my voice more properly and how to use my volume. And it was just great.
Colleen, you want to tell a little bit about what you were doing at the table with people?
Slightly indisposed. There we go.
I know. Okay. Yeah. I'm really sorry. I had an emotional moment. Aw, man, I'm going through change right now. So these girls are helping me out, you know. So I really appreciate these ladies have become my family, freaking family. Thank you.
Yes, it's your plasma family.
So much. Do you want to help me explain the art table? Wasn't that fun? Well, what we did.
Oh yes, explain the art table.
Oh,
That was just
so I have a motto: wake up and have fun.
yes.
So Angela and I came up with the idea that didn't we? Didn't you help me? You help me all the time. You just look at me. So anyway, we're having a lot of fun with
There it is.
food
There's
GANS.
the art table.
Yeah. There's the art table, and all the little cups are each of these different kinds of food GANS. So I made garlic, and I made plantain, and I made what else did I have there? Ginger, some berries, and some different things that I'd made all with pretty heavy taste. Because what we found is that when you just focus on the field energy of the food, you can actually hold the water, or even put the water down and put your hands around the water and just concentrate and feel in your mouth. And you can, especially the plantain, you get a little bit of an aftertaste of plantain, or you get a little bit of a garlicky feel in your mouth. And we had so many people that Angela would show them, here, hold this. Now think of having just think of the plantain. And you would get people, and one time we even tested a guy, and we put the jar in there, and we just said, just feel the energy. And he said, I feel, what is that? It's kind of a sticky kind of a taste. And we turned it around, and he goes, plantain, no way. Because it was there before he knew what it was.
Nice.
It was such a cool confirmation for people that the energy is, that it's around us, that it's surrounding us, and that we can accept it in so many different ways than what we've been told that we actually accept energy. So what we did was we had different waters from the food GANS, and then I had watercolor, all kinds of different watercolor paints that Heather brought for me that we just set up for all the participants to come over, and they could paint whatever they wanted. They could paint, the specific fruit if they wanted to hang it on their fridge, and walk by the fridge and say, hey, tomorrow, today, I'd like a little bit of garlic or whatever it was. And then, we had a blast with it. We had some people make sceneries. We had some people make just little patches that they wanted to try. But these little paintings will last you forever because it's got the GANS right there dried onto the paper with the paint itself as the binder. So
that is fantastic, Colleen, and that's really an important point. I mean, people would not even imagine this, It's just fantastic.
Your kitchen wall, you're painting apples on the kitchen wall with the apple GANS. That's just amazing.
The whole wall.
I'll be hopefully doing a video of a mural that I'm doing for a very nice gentleman who has put us up for almost a whole year just so that I could go back to school. So my time there is just about done, and so I'm finishing up a mural for him, and hopefully I'll be filming that on Facebook.
Nice.
So,
and there's a beautiful beings there at the table, Merlin and Christine, a mom and a son. I think they're quite interested in all this plasma technology and ready to play with it. I know Christine's coming over this weekend, so we can make some food GANs of different kinds. And
And they were both helpers on the expo, which was really fun.
Merlin's kind of new to the technology, but he was paying attention. He was learning. I bet he could go home and make, he wants to make a Magrav, already.
Nice. Very cool. Fun at the art table.
You never know what you're going to get with these plasma physicists.
Well, that's the Dr. Rodrigo table, and we did take his Magrav, and I was joking with him because he left it, in our possession. I said, well, we still have your Magrav, and we're dissecting it. And I was like, no, not really. We were just making sure we have a good, accurate schematic of how that is, because it's a beautiful unit that's a teachable unit, that somebody could teach people how to make those parts and put them together.
Definitely.
Beautifully.
This is a really wonderful mat that Whitney made, kind of showing left and right gravitational magnetic field to learn. Uses that when we're teaching. And Whitney, you want to say anything about this? Because it's so helpful.
Yes. It all seems to be perspective. So it's really nice to have something in front of you to help you understand what is clockwise and counterclockwise. And, gravitation and magnetics show up in all parts of our lives, even in bodily functions and stuff. So if you're sneezing, that's something moving out, that's a magnetical. And if you're hungry, you're pulling something in. So we're really working on just learning how to see these forces in every part of our lives so that we can work with them in better. So it's fun placement.
Yes.
Cool. Another one of Colleen's beautiful paintings.
We're blessing the room. Oh my gosh.
That one's got the planetary systems in there. I hid some mermaids in it, and all kinds
of these other things pop out at you.
And you took us in the bathroom and showed us how it lit up in the dark. That was super cool.
Oh, wow.
That's about us sailing into the unknown.
I'm on your ship, right? Okay. Okay.
Don't rock the boat, baby.
These were these Nickies? These were just such beautiful.
Oh, yeah. People were bringing in their stuff that they'd already made. They were so far along with different things, looking for the next step. So, beautiful feedback from people that they were getting the help that they were after, what was
nice.
For them.
And sometimes it just takes someone standing with you and just to help you past one little hang up.
Yep, that's right.
It means helping people make the single pin nano pins. We just did a really simple one, so that people could understand what a pain pin was, how to make one, and just we came in with the already nano coated pins, and the little hosels that were dollar store big pins. Taught them how to take them apart, put them together, and they were just, I think, amazed at how simple it was to do and how powerful they are.
Yeah, and we show in the slideshow how just the single pin makes a plasmatic field in the ice. So this whole process just helped people get educated as to just the simplicity, the simple ways it can be carried out. And that's Leave, who's become our friend and been very supportive of the process. And there's Gunter, who you saw earlier, and Anna, our AV girl from Tuesday night. And
she had made a trifecta GANS kit that last day. She came in ready to do it, and she had brought her rusty nuts and bolts. She brought some pieces of galvanized zinc, and so her 3 bottles, and she had it made within a little bit of time there.
Nice.
It's great. And it's just nice to take people from the point of, I don't really understand this technology, but I like it, but I'm not sure what to do with it. And the comment before was, maybe a little too hard to wrap my head around it. And then, after a day of playing around in that field and with all the different things, they feel like I can do this, and they took it home and do it. And there's Sandy. Sandy helped us out. That was a kind of our little health corner over there, our little plasma experience corner. So the chair that's on the right there was a bucket that had all the different health pins, a bunch of different kinds, and they could put them on, whatever body part, and have Janine, who's her name, Jean? Kind of talk to them about the different ways to use the pins, how to hold them, where to point them. And we had the lettuce sandwich and the cheese sandwich made out of the patches there, where they could learn how to use what they had just made.
Nice. And lettuce and cheese sandwiches are kind of your really cool terms for layered health patches. So don't think it's a sandwich you can eat. It's Heather's wonderful descriptive way of describing.
And thumbs up. She loved it. She was all over that thing. She was
Cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah, I see you on the path there, girl. Yeah, a lot of smiling faces, a lot of hugs, a lot of camaraderie. You know, there was so much resonance in that room between people. I mean, it was just so smooth.
There on the far right is Jack, who's the one of the Keshe distributors, and he's in the area.
Yeah, and I see some people there with a man and his son had come down from Port Townsend, which is way up on the peninsula.
Mm-hmm. I had another lady walk up to me outside and say she had just driven from Yakima and she watches our shows all the time. So really fun. People had come from all different places.
It really is amazing. I remember one lady that walked in and she really didn't know anything and she was just kind of wandering around, and I caught her because, she didn't know anything, and I started walking her through the tables. And the second day I learned that she was making the coils at the table for the trifecta system.
Yes.
And then the last day she was sitting on the tables with the coils.
Yeah.
So she went from knowing nothing to wanting to make Magrav coils.
Yes.
So it was awesome.
People proud of their stuff. This lady
Come in with one that was almost done. She just needed a little direction on kind of connecting things, and I just want to encourage people, because Magrav is not my specialty at all, but there were other people doing other things, and then between several of us we were able to get her to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. If one person doesn't know it all, it was helpful for me to know that I could still help people, even though I didn't feel like I knew the whole process, but I knew the next process.
And that's the really great part of a group effort like this, as Whitney calls it, many hands for peace. So, and as we have been sharing as we travel and teach, we're coming out of this culture that has been, I have to do it myself. I have to save it up for myself, instead of, we're spiraling up to come back together as a community. And within the community, every ability is there. Every ability needed shows up. And it's so beautiful when we start sharing that with each other. And we're encouraging people in all these different communities to keep following through and having that community interaction that can help everybody learn and grow together and accomplish things together that one person may not be able to do alone.
And it just so happened that my partially made Magrav was just maybe one step ahead of her partially made Magrav. So I had to sit it next to hers, and we compared them and compared notes, and it was just great.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's Lee and his kind of magical unit that he had made with Jack on the left, and Heather's trifecta GANS kind of pre-made little unit there. That's awesome, Heather. Are you sharing those in any way with people who would want them?
I made enough for our project in Arizona. It took about 3 weeks to make about 30 of them. So yeah. I think I would love to teach people how to make them. I think there will probably be some people that come out of our group that might be able to or interested in that, for sure.
Yeah, and I think we can say there are videos coming up to teach these ABCs, these basics. So
I finally did finish the instruction sheet for it.
Nice.
The item before I finished the instruction sheet, as usual. But
we're learning through doing.
Yeah, big time.
Yep. So what we didn't mention also that we started off the first day of the expo with a slideshow. And Heather did a fantastic job of going through a slideshow for several hours and giving people a lot of background. So that was nice to kind of get people located. And here's the pictures of bringing in the star unit for the first time and setting it up. That was really
7
special.
feet across. Yeah, it's like, and yes, that is a nano-coated coil around that 7-foot vise, what, 1,000
And another one around.
lines, and it's spread from their chicken coop to their greenhouse or some kind of a situation. I remember Billy was saying. Yeah, and it's been a solid year of labor working on that thing. That's labor of love.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my father said, there's no excuse for you.
Yeah, it's the plasma table again. And the cans. So many beautiful.
Wonderful heart-centered
faces.
manners.
Yeah, they're just
Oh,
happy
there's
faces.
a graphite stick going on. There's that DCD.
Yeah, the nice DC unit that Bruce brought us and gifted to us and really helps make better carbon stick GANs so that it's a DC current as opposed to an AC current. And he had made these things and brought them, connectors and health pens, and even had them finished in little tubes. So wonderful.
Kind of, we didn't realize that was part of the expo, but it was for people to show what they were working on, to show their creativity, to show, that they had learned this and this process and they figured out a couple of easy ways to do things and they were happy to share it with everybody else. You should just have a couple of extra tables for that, for people to bring in there. They're beautiful things that they've made. There's that monkey.
Oh, that's the Many Hands for Peace sculpture.
Ah,
Where's
The-
the
you
picture
want
of
to say something about that one?
I don't know where it is. You probably missed it. You were running around. This one, when Whitney came up with the Many Hands for Peace movement and with all of the action that was going on, I just thought it was such a beautiful thing to get people involved with a hands-on project for world peace. So I wanted to offer up to everyone in the world and beyond, really, that if they want to show that they've lifted a hand for world peace, that they've done something, that they're building their Magravs, that they're doing some plasma physics, or that they're helping another human being, or planting a tree, or there's just a million things that we can do to help this world grow into the beautiful place that she's supposed to be. So I would like to propose a sculpture that is open to everyone. So this is a collaboration with anyone who wants to have their hands join in a sculpture that I want to put together that will create one giant sculpture that will commemorate this time in our history.
Maybe we'll get a web page up on that and people can find out how to connect with it, Colleen. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll work on that. I'd love to.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. This is one of my ideas for it. That is a giant tree. There's 2 tiny people down there at the bottom, but that's the doorway going in. And then I started to sketch sort of just what you'd see, but there were the 2 little lines down at the bottom are park benches. So you imagine just the size of the hands. Those are all joined together, and then as I would get stories that would come in with the people about their hands, and I imagine like campfires and all kinds of stuff where we're connecting these hands. I do I know I'm going to do special stories inside the clay itself, like figures and different things that connect the hands themselves that show the stories of each individual. And then you'll have your name in there too. I mean, this is something that your billions of generations will be able to see and say, oh, there's, Grandpa, whatever he... Remember what he did for world peace? Or whatever.
Yeah, instead of the War Memorial, we have the World Peace Memorial. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So this was just such an amazing interaction of people just ongoingly. It was so beautiful. Do you want to tell a little bit about that really quick, Colleen?
This is the painting that I did for Douglas, who went out to Washington, D.C. and took the Magrav. One thing that I like to do when I paint is I pray it's almost like a constant meditation when you're painting, and I think every artist can agree with that. But that was something that I wanted to do while he was traveling with his family out there to Washington, D.C. I wanted to kind of be there with he and his wife so that I could, in my heart, to support them.
That's beautiful. It's really, really touching.
My students is one of me and Heather's students. Mm-hmm. So we were just online listening to everything that he was doing. And but I've got to finish it. I need pictures from him of his kids, a little bit better pictures so that I can get their features on their faces.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. What a heartfelt message. Gorgeous.
Did you find it?
Oh, just ongoing. That was Brad, right? He was really a skilled guy that showed up and kind of jumped right in, kind of co-teaching along with contributing a lot. This is the many hands for peace, people just coming forward and contributing the amazing skills that they each have. This was a really neat cup of life from, I think, the Arizona Keshe Manufacturing, and they had taken a paper and dried GANS on it, and then had the outer part that sealed. So it's just a dry Keshe Health cup. Really cool idea. Anybody could make that. Just putting the GANS water on a piece of paper of any sort that's absorptive and drying it, and then putting it inside a double-walled cup like that. There's Gunter, who is committed to helping the Many Hands community keep going here. Volunteered. Just all these amazing, wonderful, beautiful people.
Yeah, and there was just so much,
Am I going backwards, or do I?
Because everybody's just talking and sharing and, collaborating on things.
I think I have some duplicates.
Right the other way.
Yeah.
There we go. This is Nikki showing us how these health pens were made. I think this was a brilliant idea. Just you guys had pre-nano coated. Who did this, Heather? Pre-nano coated these wires.
Like hundreds of these single nano coated pins before Arizona, so we had enough for Arizona and this event.
That's amazing.
You can do for an expo. It's it is a bit of work, but it's a beautiful thing for people to leave with something that they've made like that.
Very simple. How cool is that? And there's the pens. What do you call those?
Big pens, 10 for $1 at the dollar store.
Mm-hmm.
An investment for an expo type of a thing.
And Nikki's showing us how one gets made, just using a glove, putting the nano-coated wire inside of the pen shell.
And then just hot glue each side and you're done. And people could really feel that, we know that, but they were amazed that they would hold it up to their, their face, their finger, their ankle, their whatever, and they could feel stuff move.
Amazing.
What a powerful. I went to making some more complicated ones at some point, and I know Carolyn, Keshe's wife, just kept encouraging me to go back and just do these single pins. So they're
beautiful,
simple, they're powerful, and people know they can, can find out they can do them.
Yeah, beautiful, simple.
Expo type of a setup for sure.
One of Colleen's beautiful bronze sculptures. Gorgeous.
That one's called Love Giving Wings. That one is about the male spirit lifting the female spirit, kind of a thing.
Beautiful.
This was my first daughter's dad that this was kind of modeled after. He was so helpful with encouraging my true side of my art. He was always like a really amazing inspiration for me. He never made me shut up, kind of a thing. He was like speak. So he was really, really a cool guy, is a cool guy.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Carol and DeAngelis, you jumped right in and helped teach. That was wonderful.
It was fun.
Yeah, and it was great for Whitney to have some backup at that table. The rest of us were working all the other tables, and then, gosh, they had a great group for ones that were twisting the coils together. On this beautiful being, she'd been at several of the other events, I've seen throughout the year, and, maybe a little discouraged that she loved the technology, wanted to do it, but, it just didn't really feel like she kind of had the hang of it or could, and knew where to start. And by the end of this, she was smiling and participating and making things, and she's showing us here that she nano-coated finally.
She was so excited that nano-coating could be this simple. She was just stoked out of her brain. She
kept hugging everybody.
And these are the people, if it gets too complicated, that fall through the cracks. So showing people these really, really simple ways is so wonderful, even when there are others who are capable of building the more complex devices, like these guys over here, with Whitney teaching and Brad assisting or commenting.
Right. I guess you mentioned that, people come in with whatever their expertise is. He had electrical background, I believe, and so what he was able to add a lot to people's understanding from that side of it, and contribute that way.
Some amino acids being made on top of this GANS. This was just happening. I think Wayne had brought this. Dwayne.
Yeah, it's good to have some active GANs running there, and people can actually see what it is.
He's made an appearance.
I love it.
Oh, this was so cool. What's the story on this one?
It was my notes in class for May 6th. If you listen to I don't know if it's private teaching, but Mr. Keshe was talking about our capacities to go into space, and that we really don't need space suits the way that we're going to be traveling.
Oh, that is so cool. I have chills.
I'd be waiting on the moon with some coffee for the astronaut.
I love it. I love it.
So those were notes in class. I was just listening and laughing and drawing.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Looks like some Magrav coil shapes floating up out of that coffee cup.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Lovely. What a treat to be part of these moving fields of humanity coming together with heart, mind, and soul.
Oh, and they were passing the coil around the table. Did you say this part? It was so cute that Whitney was having them, go through. It's almost like a little song, that the energy comes in, the gravitational, it goes to the left, it goes around the magnetical, it comes back out, and they were having so much fun passing around the table and doing that little sing song and demonstrating that they got it. And if they didn't get it until they had it in their hand, and Whitney come around behind them and kind of walk them through it, and it was everybody's encouraging everybody else.
Some people made up unusual songs while they were doing it.
Yes.
And people were actually laughing instead of being stressed with those wires sticking out.
They had their own version going. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we were very happy.
How about these little boxes?
Oh yeah, those are the boxes that Yasmin made. She had the inspiration to just kind of show people how to make their own little emergency kit. So she put the Mini Hands for Peace logo on it, and we had enough to give each of the participants that second day one of those where they could put their pin in it, they could put their patches in it, and they could put other things that they were making in it.
Yeah, we actually had health patches in some that we had that were supplied by Nikki from Vancouver Island. And then that's a Rick Crammond t-shirt gift that he sent for all of the people who were participating in this event, which was lovely.
And I think the inspiration, and you shared it with the people at the end there, was for them to be able to make those emergency kits and give them out to their friends, or teach their friends to make them.
Definitely.
And they, the folded up emergency kit information that we get, that's got all the different mixtures.
Right. And those sheets are going to be downloadable at 21stcenturysuperhuman.com and other locations where this Keshe material is available. This guy was having fun with it.
Because it just shows that playing with the pens is fun. Oh, that's the DC unit. There's an LED connection for making GANs, and idea for carbon sticks. You just kind of scrape off the copper part. a picture with Gunter with his pain pens we saw earlier, his medications.
He's got a cameo there. And I wanted to add that we checked in later, with the energetics of the event. It was a hugely effective event as far as many things, but just to know that the field around that building was about a 750-foot bubble, of that plasma field that was created. I mean, that was with that guy in the middle, and then a Magrav and a cube at the other ends, and the GANs all the way around the outer rim of that thing was buzzing.
Yes.
And it would probably be buzzing for time.
And what's neat is this togetherness that everybody felt, because the cohesiveness between everybody, it was like we were in a room full of friends we've been with forever.
Right.
Definitely. Without question. Wonderful.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Here's our circle, the first morning of the second day, or the second, whatever it is. And all of us got to, speak if we wanted to speak something, but the togetherness in the circle is always wonderful. And yeah.
We did a focusing for Ghana, and we did a focusing for the bottle of peace GANs that we're carrying around. Everyone took their hand and put it over to the left side and had their hands over their hearts, holding hands with each other. And many people contributed to the circle. It was wonderful and beautiful, and just such a treat to be here with all these people. So that's the end of our slideshow.
Oh. Yay. Oh, such a beautiful outcome from the whole thing. Way beyond what way beyond what I imagined.
Absolutely.
Yes. All the energies came together for this. We're just
Thank you for
so
putting
beautiful.
that together.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Some memorial too. This in their community, that it's doable. It's fun. What you get out of it, like Keshe always says, is way more than what you put into it, right?
Definitely. Thank you all so much for helping do this show and review this wonderful week that we've had together. And it's just been amazing to meet everybody in person, and it just seems normal. I feel like we've known each other for thousands of years in multi-dimensions, and we're together on spaceships, and we're together here on Earth, and it's just really wonderful.
Yes, that's pretty obvious.
So we want to remind everybody out in our audience, please play with GANs, play with the coils, run things like this in your own communities, teach each other, learn together, grow together, and let's bring forth a planet founded in peace, love, and plenty for all.
Yes.
This is thekeshefoundation.org, 21st Century Superhuman.com, and manyhandsforpeace.org. And we shall see you all soon. Much love. Adios.
Bye.
Ciao.
And then we have the patch table where they're going to learn to make a health balance patch. I'm doing a video of what people are learning and doing. We have the demos here. Let me get where you can see it. Where they're going to make one of each, 2 CO2 patches and one of each of the other patches, so that they can learn about how to use the lettuce sandwich. We have these laminated, which are kind of nice. Or the cheese sandwich. I'm going to borrow this laminated card. You're doing fine. And then they can learn how to make the cheese sandwich. Thank you, Christine, for being here. I'm making, just kind of walking around, and they can show somebody making one. Oh, good. Let's see. Barbara's making one. Barbara's finished making one. And they're going to put a little bit of, we have the plasmified water, and they're putting a little bit in their patch. Thank you, Nikki. That helps. Let me say that again. Thank you, Nikki. Do that again. Replay. She's helping out. And then looks like we've had a little bit of a haphazard with this, huh?
I needed a little longer leash.
Oh, okay, right. And then we have the massage table. Oops, it's this direction. where you can do a nano pin and plasma water experience. Nice. Can I get a little close? I'm just going to show them this. It's the overlay with the plasma water. All the way up one side, down the other, with a little space in between. Beautiful. And then we have the plasma pin chair. And you get an assortment of pins and you can point them at something. I should have asked you this. Oh, and she's got the cheese sandwich or the lettuce sandwich on her back.
I didn't know the name of it.
Yeah, it's a layering of them. Hello.
All right, we have a question.
Yes, I'm making a video for the. I'll go ahead and. That's okay. Let me just finish this section and then we'll do that. So this is Dr. Rodrigo's health panels. They get a chance to sit down in between those, or I'll just do this one here, or they can put their hand in between. Do you mind if I see your hand in there? Okay, they can put their hand in there and feel that plasma.
Yeah.
Going down into the salt water. Oh, for her trigger finger. Okay, beautiful. And we have the health pad. I'm just going to kind of look this table. The Magravs. We have some Coiling. Beautiful guys. I'm going to finish with the monkey. Okay, this is the Plasmify Your Life table. I'm going to come around the back here. Sure. So that we can see. I'm doing a little video for Facebook. I'll try not to get your faces. So these are ideas of how to plasmify. I'm taking a videos of the table. Plasma ideas. So I'm not sure the audio is going to work. I guess so. Or you should. Right. Somebody should. Okay. Obviously it works, right? Okay, and then we have making GANS table. And we have LV if you want to say hi to Facebook. Teaching people about how to make GANS in different ways. It's the trifecta unit.
We got this attached to you here, seeing how much your voltage is.
Oh, okay. We can see what in the heck it does. Did I drag you across here? Okay, sorry. And welcome back. Cool. And then we have Angela and the art table. Say hi, Angela. Doing plasma art. And Colleen's beautiful sculptures. The arts. And then we have these beautiful creations.
Names of the artists.
Oh, there you go. Very nice. I like that. And then we have a table where they can plasmify the water. Oh, go ahead. I'll just kind of walk along. People. Water charging station. Let's put the water bottles on there. People bring their water bottles. I'll put it on there. People are putting their cell phones on it, even. I don't know. And then, there we have Gunter's table. Let me take a picture of the table.
Okay, then I better. I saw you from there.
Okay, I'm gonna step on this side.
What the hell were you?
See what Gunter is doing at his table. At the coiling table.
First you peel it.
First you peel.
Okay.
Sure that you have the right direction with this, which is counterclockwise.
You're gonna
Use your fingers and then you will come here and then you go back.
Push it in like this, it will do it.
And now you did it so well. It was right.
Yeah.
And that's the easy way to do it. So that's
there we go. It is so. Okay, and then we have Wayne's. What are we calling it? Wayne's Portal, I guess.
Yeah, that is
Over there. I don't know if I can go this way.
And in the end, you need a node.
Move that way.
I'm there's any distilled water here.
Yes. Look under the table first.
See here, they fit so well together because they are stretched in a way that they have the right distance from it.
Wayne's Portal.
Yeah, and my mom's here too.
Trying to get to a space where I can see it. Is it okay? Okay. It's like the movie Contact. I see your, what's her name? Jodie Foster, right there. Wow. And then we're at the door again. Oh wait, here's the plasma water. Da, da, da. Oh my goodness.
There we go. You probably worked out sizes on this too, right?
How much you need?
No, not how much you need, but the diameter of the bar.
Yes.
So what did you arrive at?
We found out it's in the blueprint. It's 7/16 and 5/16.
We have
So,
somebody
okay.
locked
So-
in. There's a blue Honda that's blocking someone in out here, so someone that knows.
Well, that's him.
Oh, it's him.
It's Soprano.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, just to make sure it's all complicated. I saw. I do have the 3 ones.
What do you call him?
Do you know what size you use? 7/16, 5/16, and 3/30s. Okay, so it sounds like.
I have my hand up on the coil side, the rod side.
Okay.
Because this is 5/16 and 7/16, you're going to find that it's very difficult to get the 5/16s together.
What does that mean?
To get them together because the coils are too large. And I would say go ahead and if you can try a little one here.
Is that with the 18 or the 14?
So that's why you went
the
32,
732.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why. That's why it's 732. Yeah. This is a 23/64th bar. That's why it's.
And how this came about is when I made the rods for Rodrigo, I custom made. Like the 7/16 was the stock rod I had at home, and I took and ground down the 5/16 to make it fit properly, so it's a custom size. So please be careful because you're going to make your coils up potentially and find out that they're too tight to go together.
So what are you saying to you? So.
And one other point on this, and this is actually said by Keshe, and I do this all the time. I don't assemble my coils first. I nano coat them separately once, and then I put them together. And the reason for that is you have a risk when they're all put together, if something's touching in there, that you don't get the proper nano coating, because everything's inside and it's touching.
That makes sense.
So by doing it once separately, and then together after that,
I have a stripper, so I just strip mine automatically.
Yes, but you guys need to know that flat electric is a local company, and they're easy to get a hold of, and you don't have to ship it, and I've heard from somebody who's not here today that they definitely have in 1,000 and 2,000 foot rolls of 14 gauge uninsulated wire, and make sure that if you get it from Platt, that order the soft wire, not the stiff wire.
I got
And
this
then also
18 from Platt, and it was $49 for 500 feet. So it was a little less than 10 cents a foot.
That's great.
With the.
So Platt does have it available. Now you might have to order it in, but that's not a real big issue. You can wait a week or a few days for it.
I heard they were stocking it. I don't think they were stocking it because of the demand.
Yeah.
I can't, that's just what I heard through the grapevine.
Okay.
So the other question on that is, do you know how, like, is it a minimum 16-foot length for the longest coil?
Of wire?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I just have a 500-foot spool and.
Okay. Because sometimes if you, go ahead.
I have another question. Is now why Have you ever tried using, because a lot of people have heard, at least I have heard, that that you could either use heat-treated nano coating and that sometimes heat-treated nano coating under movement will crack loose, and that you could use either or and use also the hot caustic, which seems to have better adherence.
Every time you do a hot caustic layer properly, you're getting approximately 40,000 layers of nano-coated particles on there.
Okay.
So I think Rodrigo was actually doing some of his coils like 6 times in a caustic because he wanted to get that huge capacity of flow through the plasma through the nano-coated particles.
Okay.
That's why I say to me, unless my coils are beautifully black, if I have one spot on there that's not properly done, put them back in.
Yeah.
Redo them again. It's worth it. My analogy is: do you want to end up with a Volkswagen bus or a Porsche?
So the Coils told us, my friend spoke with my Coils.
Okay.
And
yeah,
they
the
said
Coils
that the
told
fire nano coating, so if you think about a tree doesn't have a stomach,
Okay.
right? It is of Earth. They said the fire nano coating was for those of Earth, and that the lye or the digestion was for the dwellers of Earth. That's what the Coils actually told us.
What does that mean, though?
Well, it's like,
what does it mean?
yeah, like I'm saying,
What is
animals have stomachs, humans
Yes.
have stomachs, they're digesting, right? But a tree doesn't have a stomach, it's like, or a bush or a grass doesn't have
Yeah.
a stomach.
Yeah.
So I've always just used both as well, because I would think you cover all bases is better to do both. So I guess the best to do it
Now,
right.
the reason I'm asking, because it would make it considerably simpler to use hot caustic maybe one more time and not worry about the heat process for this 18 gauge wire. 18 gauge is much easier to use and less expensive.
But, that's your choice. Then go ahead
Okay.
and do it. But all you do is you lay out all the potentials and then just let people go their way.
Right.
Yeah.
No reason trying to convince everybody that it's right or
Thank
wrong.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that further elucidation on that point.
In the Philippines, Renan can't get 14 gauge wire. They're stuck with 12 gauge.
Oh, wow.
So that's what they
So,
use.
resume, it's better to do 2 times with the caustic, the 18 gauge? Is
Well,
that what you said? Resume.
What
Do it
I'm
again,
saying
say it
is that, like he suggests, that you could use a torch, but a torch on 18 is difficult to use.
Okay.
So use an extra or more caustic
thank you.
process, right?
And honestly, I've torched probably 60 sets of 18 gauge, and I never melted one.
Okay.
All right, it just gets hot a lot faster.
Yes,
and
and
so
you
you
have
have
to
to be careful as you're moving it. And then when you use the torch, do you go in the flow?
It's too hard.
Okay.
I just have mine on a rod, so when I turn the rod, so as I'm going, it's turning as I go along with the torch.
But I have a question then. How do you ensure that the nano coat, it's on a rod, I heard you say, right? How do you ensure the nano coat is on the inside of your coils that's touching the rod?
This is for the heat treating.
So the heat
For the
goes
heat
through,
treating
it doesn't
process.
have to, it heats the whole coil back and front.
So the heat treating is different from the nano coating.
Yes, it's 2 separate processes.
Okay, now the heat treating, are you annealing the wire?
No, you're putting it into a plasmatic state.
Oh.
That's why I said at the factory, Keshe's coils, they're made, and when they come out, they're heat treated, not caustic, just heat. And that's all they get for a nano coating.
Well, and that's all they get for what?
The nano coating. There's no caustic that they use at the factory.
Okay, to be clear, you're talking about the heat method, you're talking about a fire?
A torch.
Right, that's
Yep.
okay, just in case anyone else is.
So it still turns the coils black?
Yes, that's
Not,
right.
not as black. It's a different color to it.
Different color.
You'll never get them.
Yeah.
It's
What
kinda
you'll,
like
what you'll
steel,
see, folks,
like
is
red.
when you heat treat copper, it will change color. It will look kind of blue and purple and interesting different colors because it's actually changing what's called the temper of the metal.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it will change colors, and you'll be able to observe that. You just have to be gentle with the torch. Use it very lightly on the 18 gauge, and a little bit not so gentle on the 14. But that, from what he's describing, that is definitely a different process that encourages further plasmatic flow. Did I repeat that correctly?
Yes, and here's the other advantage. What happens if you get a nick in your nano coating from your caustic? It's like taking a wire in and nicking it so you don't have the proper flow in there. But if you have also heat treated it, now you have that additional way that the plasma can get through that wire. So it's like an insurance package to it also.
So and again, what he's saying is that the heat treating is a slightly different process than the caustic nano coating. Okay, so and it helps increase the plasmatic flow, so it'd be good to do it on both wires.
All right, so.
But wait a second, I want to add
So
something.
hold on, he's got his hand up for a while.
Question, okay, has it already been tried, if you put electricity through the wire, it's gonna heat up, right? Has it been tried to heat up from the inside, electricity through the wire?
Yes.
For what purpose?
Yes.
For what purpose?
To make the nano coating.
Another way to heat it up.
Like a resistor gets hot.
What happens is the electricity, because of the 60 hertz, gives you a different result. And he talked about that. If you were maybe to go to a high voltage DC, then that's possible. But the AC isn't the most beneficial tool to use for that. And plus, to start dealing with bare wires and getting that kind of current going through them, it's just a whole set of dynamics to not end up electrocuted and whatever else.
I need to add something to what he said, okay? Let me say that when you see the rainbow color on the copper, it is not hot enough. If you stop at that rainbow color, it's not hot enough. You have to go past that to a kind of a golden color. And then it will come back to black. But if you stop, and it's really hard to do around here because that inner coil doesn't really get hot enough because it's too cold around here. It was fine when it was 85 degrees this summer. But if you have a heated house or a heated garage, it's okay. But I can't get it hot
Depends on the
enough.
torch you're using.
I can't get it hot enough to get that inner one past just one spot. It just will not get past that rainbow. It did once, but the second coating, it just won't do it. So, just...
Are you doing it on a rod as well?
No, hanging it from a...
So you can also put it in a cast iron pan, from what I understand, like you take a cast iron pan on your burner and lay it on there and bring it up to when it's gold and then take it off. And then I've heard then you put it back on after it's cooled up and bring it up again.
That would sound right. But there's
Until
no
it's
direction
black.
to that.
People
If
have
you
done
can
it
do
that
it,
way too.
if it works.
But
just
it's
let
bringing
you
it to
know
the
that
gold
that rainbow
because
color.
it does set something into the coil.
It's amazing.
And not red. If you get it red, then the coating that's built up on there is going to come off.
That's why fire coating
Too
is
far.
tight.
It doesn't destroy the coil, but you're going to find there's some scaling on there that you have to take and get off with a little wire brush or something and then do it again.
Do we have a Danny or someone Anderson? Excuse me to interrupt.
Yep.
Just we want the next person in here.
Someone
Anderson.
Anderson?
Gretchen. Or Gretchen's been in. Or Danny. Oh. You're Danny.
Okay. So
Thank you for that. You know what's really fascinating? You guys, I don't know if this really matters or applies. It's a side note of information. If you take a regular wire and for electrical use, okay, this is just a side note, it isn't critical. If you take that and heat a wire to the extent that they're talking about, and then you try to use an electrical circuit, it will actually be in resistance to electrical flow.
Perfect.
And it won't work very well.
It's nanocoating.
Yes, because, and so the plasmatic flow and the electrical flow are not, they won't cooperate.
We're talking two different.
yeah. Okay, so he's gonna.
So what I do is I have two bricks and I lay this on there, and then I just roll it back and forth with the torch, so I can hold the torch here steady, and I just roll it back and forth.
Just make sure you got a good glove on there, folks.
No, I do it in bare hands actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm over here on the side, and so just regular. No, not
Mostly concentrating the heat on the wire,
Yeah.
not on the rod.
Yeah, so I found that works really well to do it.
That's your first step.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. The rod size doesn't
I
matter.
mean, it's much easier to do in your nano coating it flat.
Inside, yeah.
You know, you're not trying to like
A little
follow
bit
the
after a while,
specific
but
flow of the thing. You're just basically.
So that's just how I do that.
And what was your second step?
Then it's the hot caustic. So I'll do minimum 2 heat treatments with a torch, sometimes 3, I prefer 3, and then the hot caustic. Now, what I have found, a huge difference in your caustic coating. I have a
Actually, I kind of did it that way. Just because but recently I've been using the 18 gauge.
I saved my used caustic and I made a bath with just a wire mesh frame. You can pass that around. This is not that good a picture. So all my coils, even after new wire or after they've been heat treated, they go into the used caustic for 3 or 4 hours. And so it's just I just dip this in, it's just a big toolbox, and I just made a wire mesh thing, and I just dip them in there. And when they come out, I don't wash them. I leave the caustic, the residue that's on there. So I take them out, just let them drip so that the excess is off of it. And then I use a crock pot. I just like the heat control on it, and I use different things. That did not go in a crock pot. 19 feet of, I had to build something special. But Walmart carried them. They're quite a long oval shaped one because I like to leave my coils in so they're straight all the time, even when they come out, because what I find, you don't get as much chaos in the coils relevant to your discharging. Because when you're discharging, you get this fluctuation in your voltmeter up and down all the time.
How do you discharge?
You've got,
How do you discharge them?
with a voltmeter.
Yeah, and I also am going to have to ask you a question about why you need a discharge.
No.
Before you go on, what is the use of discharging? Could you explain that
Yes,
to the group?
it aligns the nano-coated particles.
Say that
It
again.
aligns the particles.
Okay. Did you guys hear that?
So that means
It aligns the particles.
so that you get the plasma can flow easier through there.
Okay.
Okay, I don't get this discharging part.
Okay.
What do you turn it to?
Okay.
Does it matter which end? Or?
Yeah. So what you do?
So let's take a picture.
200 millivolts.
200 millivolts.
Yeah. And what you want to do is you want to touch get your gloves on so you're not affecting it. And this is the other thing. All your coils should have a loop on the end of them before they go into any process to close off the field. The wire does not have to touch back onto itself, but it should be in close proximity. So just find little pair of pliers and make a little loop. Okay.
Whitney?
And if you're going to be opening it up afterwards, then I make a larger loop so it's easier to open it up. So then all you're doing, and this is a critical part, every time they come out of the caustic, they get decharged. And you do that. Okay?
You just
10
put
seconds.
one on each end.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which side the black one's on?
No, it doesn't matter because it's a closed loop field to all this. I've set my own number at no more than 5 millivolts. As that's my guideline as to where I say, okay, it's had enough. But if you have a lot of chaos in your nano coating, it's going to fluctuate. Big jumps up and down constantly. So
You'll see that here.
yeah, it'll go back and forth. If we had a nano coated coil, I could show you just a straight one somewhere.
And when this discharges and this number reads 0?
You won't never. If you get it to 0, you'll be there all day. You better have an extra bottle of wine. And if you take it off and you retouch it again, you'll probably start over with another measurement.
That's right.
So,
Really?
So I want to see what
So you just use it for 10 seconds.
What the? Yeah. So you're saying you want to say?
oh, what it's going to say?
See where the camera is.
Wayne, do you need one?
Oh, I see.
I got a picture on my phone as I count.
So you got a coil here? Like a coil?
Perfect. Cool.
So when my coils go into the caustic, they are always in alignment, even there. They're laid out straight. If they're all twisted up and put together, you get more chaos afterwards. When I dry them, they're all lined up and everything.
This is so little. Yeah, see nothing.
No, I'm not getting. What? See, am I touching the right? I never tried to do it with a pen like this together.
With the 3 coils.
Those
already.
look, are those down?
But mine jumps
Yeah.
around in a pen, not quite the same as hers, but I have 3 coils too, and it jumps all around.
No, I'm not, for whatever reason,
Yeah,
that's
for
not
not-
working
not
with that.
doing it, yeah.
That was-
So what range is acceptable to show?
When I have it at the 200 millivolt range, 5 or less. That's just that's Wayne's Law, that's all that is.
One of these short ones maybe work?
Uh,
But they're already GANS coded.
No, I don't think that would matter. Let me just take something apart here. Maybe it doesn't even matter.
And when do you do this?
Every time it comes out of the caustic.
Still wet?
No, dry. Dry it,
Oh, dry it?
dry it, and then test it.
Okay.
Oh, I know what's wrong. It's on hold.
Good to know.
My light's on
Oh,
hold.
I see. There it goes. See how
Oh
it
yeah,
jumps?
it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you hold that for 10 seconds and that discharges?
No, not necessarily. Rodrigo told me that evidently Keshe said in the private teachings that as long as you do it for a few seconds, it's okay.
Yeah.
The readings, this is the health teachings, the readings aren't that critical. But to me, if you're getting this up and down fluctuation, that means there's chaos in those coils. Because if it's in a nice alignment, you'll see whatever the charge is just go down, 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 down. And you never know how it's going to work. You can pick up one coil and it'll go zip, zip, zip down. The next one may be a high charge and it's like it doesn't want to drop. So what I'll do?
It's dropping, it was dropping.
Yeah, that's what it should be. What I'll do is I'll just disconnect it for a few seconds. And then I'll try it again.
And so what you're talking about basically is the small electrical
lining, but it's changing that
And
measurement.
does it matter then which end
No,
goes
it
to
doesn't
what?
matter.
Just
No,
as long
you
as
can do this if you want. Okay?
So it's not polarity consistent.
No, not at all. It's a very important process for that, as far as I'm concerned.
And that is that's a ohm setting or a
No, volt,
DC,
DC, no, DC. Yeah, plasma's DC by nature.
Plasma is DC.
By jumbling the coils around too much and getting them too much.
Well,
It's a baby that we manufacture.
To me, it's more important when they're going through that caustic process that everything's lined up. So there's not a bunch of chaos going on.
You don't want to try dump them in there.
No, you treat them like a baby.
Yes, of course.
Now, my evolution in caustic coating, I've got to where I really like what I'm doing now. Number one, the coils are coming out with the caustic left on them. So you have to wear gloves, of course. You have your caustic powder solution, not solution, your powder or granules in the bottom. Sodium hydroxide, and then you should be just 10, 15, 20% of potassium hydroxide. It's a different caustic. So we use 2. I do not recall why Keshe said the potassium, but it had a factor in that instead over the as well as the sodium.
It's good for the body.
Yeah, I don't recall.
No, I've been using it and I notice it feels nicer
Okay.
when I have a mixture with potassium hydroxide.
So I put my powder in the bottom, and then I take some aluminum foil and I take and make little wads up, about the size of a ball. Throw them in there as well. And what happens when the water hits the lye and it goes into the caustic solution, it interacts with the aluminum and it produces, number one, a huge amount of hydrogen, which is beneficial in all of this. I'm not getting into that one, but it creates a huge exothermic reaction. So you get that heat in there that's causing that nano coating to take place really quickly. Yeah, so then, and then the other thing I do is I preheat everything in that crock pot. So it's all at a high temperature, so then when the hot water hits it, it's not bringing that temperature down. It's staying up there at that high level of temperature. Yeah. And you won't crack your crock pot when you do that.
Yeah, I've worn out one.
I broke one and then realized I rushed it too much. And if you want your crock pots to last a long time, don't wash them out afterwards. Just tip them into a pail where you can drain your caustic off and just leave them. Because when you add the water to wash it out, it causes the stoneware to separate off.
It expands and contracts.
Yeah. So that's, and I also, for my bigger stuff, I have a big turkey roaster that I use. because some of my pipes in that for my inline ag tubes are larger. So, but I just, crock pot works pretty good.
And the temperature in a crock pot?
High. Usually 4 hours, and I don't find any benefit after that. And sometimes I'll just turn the heat off and leave them overnight if it's late or something like that. That's fine. Next morning.
Take them out and dry.
Yeah, take them off, wash them off.
With tap water?
No, either rainwater or distilled. I use rainwater for everything I do.
Okay.
And then you drop your stuff in there with
We seem to have an abundance around here.
I like it too.
No, because of the minerals in it.
You know, one of the things about the Pacific Northwest is we have enough water, and most of our water in the Pacific Northwest in the ground is not high mineral content.
But there's still nothing all of that.
What?
If a person wants to do that, that's free will. Do what you want. It's the same thing. Do you want minerals on there that maybe are going to interfere with something? See, we don't have the answers to all of this. So my perspective was when I started is that I have to err on the side of close to perfection. Because am I going to end up with that Volkswagen bus or am I going to have a Porsche? But I have no parameters to where I can compromise.
Okay, I believe we have it now. So here we are. We're going to go slowly and travel across here, and I'll watch that.
Oh, right here? This is where your electricity would come in. That's just a small error.
There we got it. Maybe just a little more chill. There we go. I think that's got it.
This is the launch.
Okay, so start over. Just kidding. From 9 o'clock this morning, 1 o'clock today.
Here, screenshot that.
It's just,
It looks backwards.
Can you see that? Isn't that interesting? What's up with that?
Just have to watch it in the mirror.
Antimatter.
I've not seen it do that before.
Yeah, we are. The short one is supposed to be this one.
Oh, that's supposed to be the short one?
The short one, yeah. I can cut it.
It's okay.
I can cut it. I'm just going to do the same thing that you are doing.
Oh, okay.
Do you want it?
Is it a complete coil set?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should do it. Okay.
Can't miss this one.
So, but this looks like the longer one. This was supposed to be the shorter one? No, this is the longer one.
That one is the longer.
We're just gonna, you just end up working a lot with your wire, right? But it's easier to see with these bigger coils, so this is great, all right? And the one thing you kind of want is to make them, get them the same length, so that's, we're just kind of.
You can cut a little bit.
So we're not hurting people?
If it gets too close to my eye, I'll just
Yeah. Okay, because it's good because then we can back up a little bit too. There's something I missed here. All right. So she's got her ends that look a little different, but this is great. So you can see it.
You want me to find a clipper to cut it all?
Yeah, I'm gonna try pliers with cutters. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Of course, you know better.
Okay. On this first length of the A, see this length part right here? This is gonna be the entry into the coil set. So you wanna leave it, have enough room to connect to whatever it needs to connect to. So you can leave it long like this, you know? You might have to do something with this coil. But when you have your Magravs, everything goes through the base and it's gonna first go into this wire. All right, so your energy, your live wire is gonna come in to the base of the Magrav, go through the capacitors and come into the A.
So it connects to A.
Yeah, it's gonna go all the way, it's gonna go all the way through the coil set and come out the H. And then when you have a set of these coils connected together, it says right here, then H connects to the next coil set A. So that's how is that series? series, right? So just to be aware that you can actually have these at different lengths, this lead here, I normally do it at least 2 inches. So if you want to write at least 2 inches on this line, see I've got 2 inches written under here, start lead, 2 inches. This part right here. Okay, so this length of this piece right here should be at least 2 inches. Okay. I mean, you can leave it much longer. Yeah.
Does it matter whether this is 14 or 18?
No, not on this part, no.
No. Okay, I have one side it's 14, the other side's 18.
That's
Which
right.
side would I be on?
I guess we could be consistent.
Yeah,
no, I have the 14 ones in my hand right here. Okay. So you want at least 2 inches. You could make that longer, right, for your own uses, because you might make some kind of connector that needs more length and stuff like this. So it's not, you know, exact measurements here. You can leave yourself 5 inches or something, so you have that.
Better be long than short.
Yeah, better, yes. Cut it long until you get really good at it, and then you can make the measurements exact, all right? So there's on the coil itself, there's 2 measurements right here. It says tightly wound and spaced. That means that when the coil is wound up, this little coil, and all tightly wound like this, right, onto the bar, it consistently measured 5 inches for 14 gauge for 81 turns. This 14 gauge we're on.
You mean 5 3/4?
So you can count 81 turns a lot in your eyes, you know, but I would do it for your first several coils when it's on the bar. The coil's on the bar. These are different size coils, you just know that. But when the coil's on the bar and it's pushed all together tightly so there's no spaces, this should measure about 5 inches, not about 5 inches. All right. Then you can have a spaced amount. So if it's 5 inches this way, when you space it out, it's going to be a little bigger, right?
Hang on, we have another figure here, 3 and 3/8.
Yeah, that's the 18 gauge. We're on 14 gauge for the moment. Oh, okay. Sorry about that confusion, but we're going to kind of do both. So for 14 gauge, the tightly spaced is 5 inches. Now, or tightly wound. So I don't know until we get this together how long this is going to be spaced properly, but since we have these right here, let's get them the same length so that they fit together nice. All right. And if you see how it's kind of darker, just try to get it to be as nice as possible. Everybody's got their own thing on that one. So that's about the same. So let's measure that. So this would be 8.5 inches. So the tightly spaced on here, I'm getting all my words mixed, I'm really sorry. The spaced value would be 8.5 inches. I want to write that on here.
So that's for the 18?
This is for we're on 14 right now until we're done with this. So put your 18 away. Let's keep 14 only right now. 8.5 inches. Yeah.
The number 8 is 144.
And this coil is the 81 turn coil.
The number the 8. The first one is how many?
A is 81 turns.
81 turns.
And Whitney, just to clarify for everybody, the 81 turns is consistent with whether it's 18 or 14 gauge, isn't it?
Yes, that's consistent on 18 and 14.
That's kind of the 81 and the 144 are kind of your controls. Okay, those are your main numbers that you need to pay attention to.
89, and I'll just make that an 81.
81, right.
And this is what the Keshe Foundation has most everybody focused on. I've done a lot of 80. I did all mine 89. That's why the coil specs are all messed up. So, so then you have on this coil, you have a long tail, right? This tail has to be at least this long, plus some to connect. So it has to be at least 8.5 inches plus. So that's why it says loop through tail and tail section here. Does that make sense, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a measurement, so this would be 8.5 inches plus B connects to C plus, let's say plus at least 2 inches. So then it's a health span. I can't write. So that means
8.5 plus 2 inches on the tail.
2 inches, so it
at least 8.5 inches plus 2 inches for the tail.
So that means that this lead would be at least 10.5 inches long. Right. Yeah. And you want to leave this long enough because it's a hard coil too, and you can't really change it much if you get this too short. Then you can't get it through, and that really is not fun.
On the larger diameter coils, or the longer length coils, the longer length ones, 162 turns.
144.
144.
So that's an adjustment from the original blueprint.
Yeah.
We got to 144.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
144 and 81.
And 81.
Or 3.
Okay.
I was told 3.
But 9 is a multiple of 2, but it's 3 that it comes from.
I see.
So then we're going to insert it into this coil FE. This is FE.
What is getting inserted in there?
This
Okay.
coil. So we were we're on the 2 shorter ones right now. All right. So FE can have pretty equal tail sizes on it. I always leave at least 2 inches on either side of that one.
In addition to the length of the coil.
In addition to so at least 2 inches on here.
Okay.
So your coil would be 8.5 spaced to be the same. So it's going to be 5 inches tightly wound and 8.5.
So a minimum of 11 inches then, basically 8.5 plus the 2 per.
Well, yeah, but the wire size, I mean, it's a lot of a wire here.
Okay.
So yes, lengthwise, if you're laying it out right here, it would be that. So we got 2 inches on either side and 8.5, just like
That's right.
all right.
2 inches on each. The tightly wound is 8 and the space is 8.5?
Yes. No, tightly wound is 5.
So F goes inside A.
Minimum.
Yeah, so the F side right here is going to match up with the A side.
Yeah. And of course it shows it on the document. You see the A and the F are on the same
on the left side
side.
of the paper and the left side is on the right. It's just that you don't want.
Oh, it is actually, yeah, but it's kind of perspective of winding. This is the side that I always put in the drill.
The short side.
So it is backwards from the left. Yeah, you're right. Okay, she caught on. Yeah, but this is if you see right here, it says start lead begin coiling, turning counterclockwise to tail end. So this is the end that would go in the chuck. The drill. So that's why it's put that way. Which drill is always held in the right hand. It goes out that way. Okay.
So A goes in the truck.
Yes.
The short lead goes in the drill. That's important.
Yeah, well, that's
Because,
logical.
as you're finishing, you want to make sure you remember to pull out enough wire to go across the length of what you've turned and half again as much. It's
Oh,
pretty
like-
much enough, right?
Yeah, she's talking about this.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's what you have to do at the other end. So you put this in, and as long as you.
What she's
you
saying.
don't start measuring it before you start. You're going to measure it at the end. You've got the A side in the drill. And you drill and you open it up 81 turns or 144 turns. 81 turns. And then you've got to leave this really long piece. And you've got to gauge that. So that's what you've got this number here. But it's this plus.
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
right. So she's saying is that when you made it, then you can lay it this way and then
Back
half
again,
again more, so you can kind of gauge it.
Yes.
Yeah, while you're.
Then you don't have to figure out where to get the ruler.
Yep.
You don't
Yeah.
have to need a hand
For the ruler.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
a good point. Good point.
So then, to connect this coil together, we're going to bend this wire, the tail end of this one, through the entire thing again. And it helps if you just kind of arc it. And I like to work out, just work out the little
Which
bumps.
end is that again that you're born?
The long end.
Oh, the
B
long
end.
end, right. Okay, yeah.
Inside the
Yep.
The
And
B
then
goes back inside itself. So,
Okay.
yeah.
inside itself.
So B goes back inside the gravitational coil that you're working with.
Okay, so who wants to thread this through?
So is that
Well,
one and a
actually,
half
you've done a lot
times
of
just
that.
for
I
B
want
and
someone to
E, or
practice.
is it
The
all
long
four?
tail.
All four?
No, there aren't four long tails. There are two long.
Okay, B and E.
The inside ones.
B and E.
Yeah, I'll trust you.
B and D.
No, we want the inside.
The inside ones.
Right,
so
but
that's
the skinny
A
ones are
to
the
B.
inside ones.
Oh, right.
A to B, and then.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but the way it's shown, the long one is here and the short one's here.
Yes, because this needs to be longer.
When it connects to the next group.
This is your out of the whole entire
What
thing.
dexterity.
We're gonna get to, we're on this
These
one
are
right now.
both of the
We're on this one right
inside
now.
coils. These are skinny. So that's why.
I did it! Oh, you did! All right, so where was the one, which one did you pull through? Okay, and then you've got that, so turn it so you have that in your left hand.
Was this the
That same
insider?
one.
Yes, Tim.
Oh, you mean like this?
No, just,
The part you
And-
work through.
this guy, when it's on the left side, yeah, perspective here. So if it's in your perspective, when you have B and D in your left hand, you're looking at the front of the coil. You are looking at the front of the coil.
B and D and left.
Yeah.
B and
You mean B and
D in the left hand.
yeah, because this is, I'm just trying to show you what was front and back of the coil as we go here.
And
Just let's keep going.
Okay.
Right? And then it'll be less clear as mud.
so we'll know why it needs to be on the
And it
front.
is okay for me to cut this a little bit.
Quick question. Is this the inside coil?
Yeah, the smaller one is inside coil.
You actually have.
That's what I mean. Is this the
Yeah,
smaller
it's
one
the
is the
shorter
inside
one.
coil? And that's the one where you put the one back in through itself.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them get back through themselves.
So yeah,
Inside
only
and the outside.
only the gravitational thinner coils have a long tail. I mean, yeah. Let's just go through it a
There's
couple
long
times
set
and
and a
you'll
short
see it.
set. They both loop through. They both loop through.
Yeah.
In the long set and the short set. Because by now you've got them set together, because you've got your gravitational coil inside your magnetic coil. Okay?
I see, but the one that goes back inside of itself doesn't go back inside of itself until it is inside the other one.
Yes.
Yes.
You're correct. Yep. Gotta get that question out right. Yeah, no, let's get clear. We want everybody walking out knowing how to make this. Okay.
This is we can.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the longer ones, when they're tightly wound, the 144 14 gauge wire turns. When they're tightly wound, they've consistently measured to 9 1/4 inches. Okay?
Which number is that one?
So this is C, D, 9 1/4 inches.
Gauge.
Yeah.
Tightly wound.
Okay, yeah.
So also, it's the same for this coil here. This is 9 1/4 as well.
So that would be on G and H as well, right?
Right.
Tightly wound, 9 1/4.
Now, Whitney, I have another question.
Okay.
Is it, when the other guy was talking about this, he said he went ahead and nano coated these before he started putting them together.
Yes.
So what you need to imagine in your mind's eye is these are already nano coated. Because if you take and do all this work and then nano coat it later, it's not going to work as well.
Yeah.
Because it's, okay, so
Well, and they will work sufficiently, but I tell you what, the work that he's putting into it is great. They will work sufficiently for your needs.
Remember, he's going for the Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Right.
But we got the Porsche. Which is awesome.
That is 9 1/4 on C.
Yes.
It
Tightly
might
wound,
inhibit
9
it slightly because there might be touching while you're doing
Tightly
the
wound,
nano coating process.
9 1/4. And also down here on this one,
Sort of. Actually, he does 3 or 4 nano coatings before he even begins his assembly.
And each nano coating is gonna make it thicker.
Each time you do the
I fire nano coated them together. It's really up to you.
It's making sense.
How many turns is C? How many turns? C. How many turns?
144.
144.
The long ones are always long 144. No matter whether it's
No, it doesn't say
18 or
144.
14 gauge.
How are you
Yeah, but mine doesn't say.
How are you doing?
Good.
Oh, because you have
Good.
it.
Good.
Yeah, no,
It's easy.
The short ones are always 80.
You have to really stay present. I mean, it's like a meditation to do these things. It's really good. It's better to do it in a group.
Yeah.
Okay. So now these are kind of a little bit long, but let's see.
So
This
in
was
other words, they don't
12.
need to be like that.
Yeah, they don't have to be quite this long. Spaced out, these are 14 1/2 inches.
Okay.
But now, do you actually count them?
No. Oh, yes. I mean, you can count them. What happens is that consistently, when you count 144 turns, when it's all jammed together, it comes out to 9 1/4 inches almost every pitch. So
one count doesn't
it's good to count them.
So you count them while they're on the rod?
Yes. Yeah. And then space them out on the rod also. But you count them on the rod. Everybody should be counting it. However, you're going to count it, and then you're going to find out that it's going to be that long, for this diameter.
So,
All right.
under C.
So then we're going to put these two together. All right.
Okay.
This means that this tip is
D.
C.
C. Oh, you're on the inside.
Sorry, yeah, we're on the
Okay,
gravitational.
inside. Okay.
It is a lot bigger. So this is
Okay.
C, and this is H.
Now those are stretched out too.
Yes.
Well,
And they're stretched out to 14 1/2 inches on this example, but I think 12 1/2 inches is probably sufficient to stretch them out to. And you want to kind of get consistent because then your coils will be the same sizes. All right. So who wants to put these together? All right. Go ahead and insert that together.
Why this paper C is shorter on the left side and H is longer?
Because H needs to have a long lead.
And this one, yeah.
And that's just-
And it's in the same left side.
See, that's why I said that you need to put the short end in the chuck.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that end.
This is
Not always that.
This diagram is showing a lot of information. It's showing the flow. So your gravitational flow is going this way, and then it reverses and goes this way. That's why it's kind of backwards in a way. However, when you're winding, like yes, right here we say put this end in the chuck. When you have 5 inches of wire, putting it in the chuck of this, it's kind of difficult.
Really hard.
Yeah, and especially when you have big fat bars and there's no room to shove the wire in there. You can use a little clamp where you clamp it down. But when you look at the coils, both ends are gonna be the same. So actually, you just wind it from G this way and put the short end in the chuck on this one. It makes it easier. And then you just cut. I know it's just confusing. I don't want to confuse everybody, but I wound many, many coils by using a 5-inch lead, and it's just harder to do. But the coil is the same if you flip it back and forth. So, yeah, as long as your drill is in reverse, you're good.
Okay, so we get it together, and
Okay.
now I've got the inside wire in my left hand.
Okay.
Which is C.
Okay.
And I do what with it?
So you want the big long tail D, the other end of C.
Oh, okay, on the inside wire, the big long tail of D, okay.
That goes looped all the way through the middle, back out the other side.
Oh, this goes
So we
through
might have
this?
to clip that. We might have to clip that little loop off.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I got the
little loop.
Oh, it doesn't.
so it doesn't get caught.
Yeah, you can make a little loop so it doesn't get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if it would go through. Yes.
Especially
Yeah,
on these.
that's true, because sometimes the little metal cut part will snag.
Put it above the table so we can see.
Okay, so I got it through. Now I don't know what to do.
Okay, so pull it tight.
Pull it tight.
Yeah, until they come almost, yeah.
Okay.
And you keep it that way, just bend it the other way.
Bend it just back.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, okay.
And then where's the front?
Yeah, how do we know what is the front?
Okay, so you're holding that one in your
I
left
want to
hand.
turn it to like this.
Yes. And then when you are looking at it, you're
Yes.
looking at the front right now.
Okay, this is the front. Okay.
And that'll become more apparent as we do this next part.
Okay. So.
All right, so. All right, and this one you can tighten it, close it like this, you know, however you do it.
Which is this one?
Do we want to label this as we go through?
Yes.
Yeah,
let's do the tape over there. So the reason that we space these out is so that they would fit nicely inside of each other like this. Sometimes your coils might be like, you know, really close together like that. So you kind of have to play with your first set so you can get your coils sitting nicely inside each other. And that's why the spaced amount might change according to what you're doing.
What color would you like, Whitney?
Let's use
Black. We have tan, red, and blue.
This one. Here's that one.
That's one of the reasons that guy used that. He took that piece of triangle and he routed those coil spaces with his, machine.
Yeah, that we're sitting inside of like the pool foot cue things,
Right.
yeah.
It made it all nice and spacey. A lot of us, like, I don't have a router, and so I've got to figure out a different way. Hey, Whitney, so do some people take, and once they get them all nano coated and all this alignment and all that good stuff up, do they take and like stick them down with hot glue so they're spaced properly if they don't have that neat little routed triangle?
Oh, no.
How do you center the two? Do you just hope they stay centered?
It's how you do the connections.
Okay.
To get them centered. I mean, you can go to town. Make what you want as far as how you hold them in the center there. But your connections right here are going to really be the ones that hold that
in place.
But like he had actually.
Clip ties. You might put clip ties, those plastic clip ties.
Someone had brought up a little stacker box in. Oh, sure. Okay. You can make a like some people use a plexiglass piece, and they put little holes in the plexiglass where you can loop a zip tie through it. So you can hold. You can devise a lot of ways to hold these things in. All right. So you can have a template where you put down your coil and you do zip tie it. Yeah. Or you can make
Well, one of the things that's exciting for me as being familiar with electricity you know, electricity, if you try to do this electricity, it'd all short out and it'd burn up and be a big mess. Okay, but because you got it nano coated, and like Linda said to me, that nano coat is kind of like the nano coat is created by God, okay? And God's not going to shock you or make things that hurt you. And so the nano coat can run the plasma energy, and it doesn't short itself out, which is amazing to me. So in other words, if your wires are touching each other, it's not as big an issue because it's almost as if it was self-insulating.
Yes,
which is
that's
really amazing to me.
That is really important about the entire process, is that once you have that caustic nano coating process, not doing fire, I don't know if that would be the same, but once you have the caustic, that lye on there, you can't get a voltage meter reading of the electrical current going through the coil by putting a voltage meter on the blackened coils. You have to scrape off the blackening part to expose some of the copper to actually be able to test that there is electricity running through there. So these coils are very, very cool.
Yeah, so here's a really funny side note for electricity, okay? It's not really pertinent. You can ignore it if you want. But this is just the wrong process if you wanted to run electricity through it, because it actually increases its resistance and makes it hard for electricity.
Well, except here's the way it is. It's more than 2, or is it 20 mega ohms resistance, like this, once it's nano coated. The nano coating is total resistance. But going this way, it's a superconductor.
So it acts like a diode.
To me, that's so amazing. It's like, what? It is a diodic flow.
Yeah.
And it
So
is a
resistance
diodic flow.
coming one way, but conductor, the superconductor going the other.
Oh, a diode. A diode is...
Okay, so here,
Did you learn
let's
this from
get
your videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the two ones that go all the way through were D and B. So that's what I've labeled so far.
D
And B. Those are the big long tails that went through.
Okay.
All right. Now, you want to know which one your
D and B.
Your A entry. So once you connect the coils, there's only going to be 2 leads that are going to come off the coil set that are going to not be connected. All right, it's going to be your A and your H. So if you want to find your A and the H, it's going to be on the opposite side of your B, and it's the start of the smaller coil inside of the smaller loop. So I'm going to put this from your perspective.
I'm so glad that you'd be labeling all those. Because I mean, for me,
It takes a...
I'm electrical, you know, and I know all this stuff.
And then everybody will be able to take a picture. Your coil will be famous. All right. Everybody can take a picture of it, and then you can have it at your home with the picture on there. So if you're holding it from your perspective with the B in the left, your A is going to come off this side.
Of the inner coil.
Off the inner coil. So let's label that. Now that's, let's put the black one on there because it's...
And when you don't usually put a loop on that in, I thought you put a loop on that in so you could recognize, at least you did in your video.
Also,
we're going to end up cutting it though right now, I guess. Yeah.
So anyway.
Yes.
And also recommend remember, you guys, there is a diagram on the Golden Age of GANS that shows, there's a picture that shows all these ends with all the tags on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So the reason I put the black, because that's a normal electrical black is the live wire in most electrical. So and this is your A.
Okay.
All right. So then to find your H out, it's going to be opposite of your D. So if your D, this is your left side, right? So I'm going opposite of me. So your left side. H is coming off the big fat coil on the right side for you guys. So that would be
They just coming off the big fat coil. Yeah.
Actually, let's go gravitation magnetic.
Yeah, it's coming off the big fat coil. But you really got the long and the long gets inside the fat. And so
our brains are blown, it will take
we're
about
whittling
20
it
times
down.
more.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get it.
Listen, and even if you think you got it,
Yeah, there's all kinds of little surprises.
yeah, it's nice to use blue as an idea of the magnetical and red for gravitational.
Isn't that what you said? How would you know it's H and not
Okay.
or G? Well,
So we're just going to get through this so that you can, and then I'm going to pass it around. Everybody can inspect.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yep, that's cool.
All right. So where are we at? We got.
Just labeled H.
I got to look at it from the front.
So which things are you labeling blue?
The H.
H.
And we got
And
E
what
on the
else?
left. Right. So that's a process of elimination. You see where the connections are down here? So it says in that little box, here's your coil connections, B, C, D, E, and F, G.
Yeah.
Is this a process of illumination?
There's a loop, yeah.
We needed some.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's so essential.
So C and B get connected, right?
So what are you doing here? Now I gotta see this. I'm confused here. C and B.
So this is C, right?
Don't ask me.
I don't know about this.
Uncross your eyes and look again.
Well, I haven't tried to show it like.
Yeah, you're reversing back and forth.
Yeah, and so
you're keeping it straight.
So guys, I want you to see that, but I think the best thing is just to label them and let you look at them. So let's just get them labeled.
You know what I think what I'm going to do is as I form my coils, and then as I thread them, I'm going to mark them.
That's what I'm gonna do too.
I would try to take them on and then put them through, untape them, put it to quickly tape it on.
Yes, whatever it is you have to do. Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, it'd be too easy for me to lose.
So which things get labeled the same color?
Yeah, I didn't really get that.
And it doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, yeah, it does. But you know which ones to twist together?
Yeah, it is kind of nice. The only thing
But if
is
they're all labeled with an A, B, C, or
it
D,
didn't really have the
and
colors
you have
to do it.
But
It
it's
should
kind
have
of
had like
helps you
more
to know
colors.
if which you pick.
So
Okay, I
this-
put the two yellows together.
Yeah, that
Okay, I
would
twist
help.
The opposite
You're
side
right.
of
It's like
H
your
is G.
electrical
Yeah.
wiring.
I'm just gonna have you guys look at this. We're just gonna pass it around that way.
Another class I went to said that.
Oh, yeah.
So here's one. We'll keep my first. It's not gonna make too much sense until we get it all done, but let's just get this done first.
Okay. You're doing good.
Now, which way is front?
Who's on first?
Whatever you do, don't ask that question.
Right. Do not ask that question.
A
Is the
goes
blue on the
with
right
F.
when you're looking at it from the front, or what?
So A is on the same
Well,
side.
it's this time she chose to make this blue. You could be at your house, you don't have blue, you're making it yellow, or perhaps you have masking tape and everything's masking tape, but you're writing the letter on it. It's what the letter is, not the color, that's important.
So what's the color? Of the
The letter. The letter on the blue is H.
H.
And you can look on your list and see H.
Is on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it was more important that the letter was there.
Yeah, it's the letter.
That's all.
You can
Yeah,
use the
but it would
colors,
be
it's
nice to have colors, but
It helps, it's extra, but you can get by with just
Especially when you
letters.
start
if we
making
had
lots.
some other tape,
You would need 5 colors to do what you were thinking of. Because
Yeah.
you have she wanted to do the colors of the ones that lie together, or the ones
The ones that connect.
connect.
so then you could just say,
So
oh,
she
the yellows
needed
go to the
different
yellow.
colors for the
Yes.
lead out, lead in.
And we can
then
still
each
do
one.
that if we find more colors.
That's what Mihal taught me.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
How many classes have you been to?
I went to an all-day marathon on Friday. And some of the students came.
Yeah, you're forever finding where you're at on the coil set, and that's the thing. So
And this is not finished yet. This is where they're gonna.
So this is only one
I've been up to my
H has to connect. And then at the end, it has to link something else.
You know what's really fun for me is being taught technical things by a woman. Okay, and it shows you how acculturated I've been over the years. Okay? But I'm supposed to get technical knowledge from a man.
yeah, don't worry about learning this. Just kind of look at it and pass it on, because we're gonna go now through how the flow looks.
Okay. Doesn't bother me because she looks like my daughter. To me, that's so fun. I love getting my suppositions and my assumptions, even deep assumptions, tossed up in the air. It's like, yeah.
A little longer, you will learn that women are your best teachers.
Absolutely.
Oh, funny. That's why you've been giving me all the awkward.
This is the hotline.
So here's the idea: to write a musical like Cats or Phantom of the Opera that would be about this process that we're doing.
This would be a great song.
And there's going to be a clockwise and counterclockwise, and all of the
easier everyone will get it.
How to write now. So
And you know what? I recently saw somebody put something like that. And they called it a scientific symphony.
You know, like
I just saw something like this kind of thing. They called it scientific symphony quarks.
The guy speaks very, very fast and rhythmic. He explained quarks and all of that stuff.
And it was so fun. And it was crazy. It was like
Commercial network picked him up and he's advertising.
They said Asian scientist. That's an Asian scientist kind of guy.
No, I don't. This guy.
But I mean, he has an Asian ancestry. He looks like an Asian guy. Can you guys close the door?
See that?
Thank you. It's kind of nice not to
We don't want any more people to start from the beginning.
Yes. At 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, you will know where H goes.
So just kind of get an idea.
Where the H did it go to?
Inside the outer coil. And then a inner coil has one long tail on it that moves all the way around,
Nikki's great.
back out,
Video.
and comes this way.
And this is not something you have to totally pay attention to, but this is just so you know you're not alone.
Is this me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is Whitney teaching me coils after we were both tired. She said, we're not going to do this tonight. So I just completely collapsed. And all of a sudden she says, like half hour later, okay, we're connecting coils. And I was like, really?
Oh, this is great. Yeah, we put it out of the bloopers.
Yeah.
The blooper reel. I love it.
Yeah, because that's the best part.
Probably. Okay. I'm gonna maybe ask you to hand me that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for letting that be over there. Hopefully we can make some usable information about it.
Here's Carolyn.
Sure.
I can't really hear.
Before we start, okay? First of all, my name is Bryant. I'm working here with this great group of people, some of them traveling across the country to teach the Keshe technology, and a lot of them here locally that keep coming out of the woodwork that have been playing with this technology and asking beautiful questions, making their GANs, making their nanomaterial. And I'm also aware that we probably have a lot of new people, hopefully, that haven't even heard of this or maybe just a little curious. Or somebody just kind of dragged you out of the house and said, this is kind of interesting, come play with me. So you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say GANs or something like that. So we'll start the slideshow and discussion of kind of the background of the technology and all of that here in just a second. I wanted to just kind of make sure the setup of this room is kind of working for people. I chose not to have a microphone, so that it's a small space, and I thought we'd have 12 people maybe, so. I've been aware that there might be some people that have some hearing challenges. If you're willing to and you're able to and you haven't yet and you want to move up to the front so that you can maybe hear me or us better, is there anybody in the back that would like to move that thinks that they're not quite in the right spot to hear or anything? No? Are we all good then in that department? Because I'm sure some people, we could, you know, even move a chair out to the side over here or something like that. So let me just say, if you would like to take a moment and move your chair, like kind of maybe up on the wings on the side so you can be a little closer to here. We can maybe put one here, one here.
Swing them around? Because I want to keep these clear for safety purposes.
Right, okay, well, just, I'm talking one or two. One or two, yeah, okay, there we go. That way you
people not speaking up, I think.
Speaking of, okay, so that's all right.
Just kind of wing it around to.
Yeah, so people can, they didn't say anything about a fire marshal or anything, so, okay. Okay. Is it about the parking?
No, it's about her charge.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to say something for a moment. We'll make sure we get that settled. Okay. I want to say something about the parking. Hopefully it's not too late to say that. I'm looking at how we did the parking out there. You probably got the message as you came in, but if you didn't, there's a lot of parking across here at the high school and middle school? Middle school. They prefer that we use that, if at all possible, just because this parking is a very limited area and there's some residential people that don't enjoy extra people parked in their spaces. And they will call somebody and have you hauled off. So if you park close to this wooden fence or up there, we're good right now. Good? Okay. Looks like you have another person coming in. And first of all, we appreciate you all coming. This is kind of a pleasant surprise and a beautiful thing. We put out some material here and there on Facebook and some things around town. I know the Triad Theater was really awesome in helping us get the word out. Some of the school systems were real helpful in getting the information to their teachers and students, public schools and private schools, which is awesome. What you got, a little bit? Okay, we got to be real careful with this because if we touch it, it can completely turn off and not turn back on. Can everybody see? No, better up higher. The thing is, this monitor belongs to our beautiful friend Carrie, and she basically gave me instructions not to touch it, because if I do, it could likely turn off and not turn on the rest of the day. So that would be, you know, we could all have great intentions and levitate it, you know, and just be okay with that, or we could say, darn.
I could bring my TV tomorrow.
Well, I'm not going to do it tomorrow.
And then we could also.
I don't know, this room's full of a bunch of masters. We could just say it's going to be okay and do it.
So be it.
Cross our fingers, cross our toes. What do you think? After we complete our slideshow today, we're going to have like a break for about an hour where we can actually eat and breathe and walk about. I don't think we're going to close the doors or anything, but we won't really be available to answer questions and make things yet. So from 12:30 to 1:30 is going to be kind of a break. I think we can probably say it's okay for people to kind of walk around on the areas and kind of look at some things and come in and out if you've paid for that next part or want to stay for the next part, or thinking about staying for the next part. And then at 1:30 we'll just kind of, or closer to 1:30, we'll kind of send the people out that don't want to be part of the afternoon. Sound good? I'm going to kind of do a little quickie around the room so we kind of know what the tables are. Lynn, do you want to talk about that first with the... Okay.
Yes. Those of No advertising intended, Yasmin. No advertisement intended. No. This was our only available credit card method.
Yes.
And it works.
Because there's no internet and.
But just so you know, that's how it's going to show up.
Yasmin came all the way from Houston to bill your credit cards for you.
Thank
you, Yasmin. Thank you, Yasmin. Okay.
Take it off as a business expense.
Exactly. Love that. You know, that's one of the few things perks left of this country. Okay, I was saying something about this table. We have some water bottles available. I just put, for a donation to help Carrie and Whitney with their gas money. And while we're on that subject, this is Whitney Fisher. Her and Carrie Ellis are traveling around from, where'd you start, Montana?
Montana.
You're going to give them a little...
Yeah, Carrie started in Florida. She came up to Montana and picked me up, and then we went up through British Columbia and over to Vancouver Island and Vancouver, and then down here, and then now Oregon this week, Portland, Eugene, Asheville. You just told me yesterday, and then California, Grass Valley.
Next
and
year, Texas, Houston.
Next year, Texas, Houston.
Texas, Houston. And I think after that, Sedona, and then Colorado, and then stopping for the holidays, and then we'll see what's next.
Wonderful. So if you have friends and family in those areas, send them a little message and say, hey, keep an eye out for these girls because they're going to do stuff kind of like this. Each one's kind of set up a little bit different, and depending on the people that are hosting it, like, I'm kind of an ex-Girl Scout leader, so we're used to setting up, things like this where people go around the table and they make stuff. So, everybody uses their talent and their interest.
Have a post of that so we can get those places and dates.
On the sheet that you got when you came in, thank you. So can you give me one of those sheets so I can kind of say what's up with that? It has kind of like our favorite links for the Keshe stuff, the ones of us that are teaching.
Explain what they got.
And one of the sites on here is Carrie Ellis's site and Whitney's site. I think the calendar is on Carrie Ellis's.
Yeah, if you go to 21st Century Superhuman and you click on the tour tab, there is a calendar on there.
That way you can see where they're going. It's a calendar of where they're going next. And speaking of which, I put these are our favorite YouTube channels where we tend to find the little videos that we make when we're learning how to make things. People that we access when we're going, oh, now which way did they say to wind that, and how many layers of this, and which way to roll, and yeah. So these are the people that we kind of look at as the leaders in doing explanations and videos. They're all amateur. They're just people like you and I that are in their garage trying to figure this stuff out. And while we're doing it, I'll say, Linda, grab the phone while we're, suctioning the GANs so we can show people how to siphon the GANs, and we'll make a little 2-minute something and post it. So the one called One with Light, that's ours. And these are just some other people that we look at periodically. If you Google any of these words, GANs, Nano, Keshe, you're going to come up with thousands of things now. And he's been talking about this for about a year now. The Facebook groups, another beautiful place to find stuff. I just put one of them on here, Golden Age of GANs, because it seems like a pretty good hub of a lot of people. I think there's about 16,000 people on that one. And that's where I post my files. Whenever I figure out a process a little bit and I make a little PDF on it, I file it in the file section. So you go to that Facebook page, and then there's a file tab. You click on that, and then I listed down here the file names that are the ones that we have around the room, and the ones that we've come up with, and some ones that we use kind of for regular material. So we chose, like today, with a workshop, it's really nice if you can give somebody a workbook with all the flyers and information. I think it'd be about a 100-page manual, right? It'd be huge. And at 46 cents a side for colored copies, that's probably not so doable. So we thought we will give you this, and in the comfort of your own home, you can bring them up on your computer, read them, print them, whatever. So that's where we're at for now. At some point, we hope to get together actual workbooks, that people, and that's one thing that we've been doing. as a group is try to get together the girls that are doing these workshops, and as we pull these files together, we're going to pull them into, you know, websites and workbooks so that people will have something to pick up. Do you want to speak about the Godesses of GANS at that point? That's kind of along that line. And then I'll talk about the World Peace Treaty and we'll get started.
So we have this manifestation going on between all of us girls. We came together, it was April or May-ish time. And Carolyn, Jeannie needs to be in here because she's been doing this.
Watch the tables, no touching the tables.
Oh yeah, come this way. On
Go
this
that
side.
way,
Just stand there.
Okay, just stand there.
I won't breathe. Yeah.
This is our youngest
Yeah.
plasmateer.
It's just like her mom.
Thank you.
So what's amazing about this, that we all felt this urge, and there's other women all around the world, a couple in Australia that aren't here, and we just had this urge together that we need to get this information out to everybody in a format that everyone can understand and easily do their own workshop so it can spread. This information is so important, it needs to go out to many, many, many people. So we started a meeting in April and May. We had 1 or 2 conference calls, but we just found that all of us have a specialty, and it's just natural specialty. So we didn't do a whole bunch of planning, but it was almost like our souls knew what we needed to be doing. And Nikki's in here too. Nikki, you've been doing that out of Muskogee Island. You should be up here, Nikki.
And Joelle's been on there. I
Joel?
mean, there's more people we can put
Yeah,
on stage now.
I think they were all part of it.
Yeah.
And
you
were
everybody just come on up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
everybody.
You gotta have a picture of the goddesses. And
Yeah.
there was a name that kind of surfaced because Carrie Ellis, who does the online webcast called 21st Century Superhuman, she interviewed Keshe, and she's interviewed a lot of the key people in the program for her monthly or bi-monthly shows that she does. And so she contacted us and said, would you do a show? And then she called it the Godesses of GANS. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cute, you know. So I kind of caught on, and then it became a Facebook page, and then other people, like these beautiful people, say, yeah, I would like to contribute to that and be part of that being created as a resource.
There
So.
are actually some men in the group.
And there's a couple men that said, can I
They
join?
remember LV.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there's LV over there. And Mark House, who runs the Golden Age of GANS Facebook page, he was going to be here today. Oh, we got to complain to Keshe about these things, right?
Yeah, Keshe took two
so
people away from
two of
us
our
today.
employees, Mark House was going to be here working, but he started him teaching in the private teachings on Thursday, so he had to prepare a class for Thursday, so he's not able to be here. And then Dr. Rodrigo was going to be here today. I think he's going to try to come in tomorrow.
No, he has a meeting, prior meeting.
And yeah, he's running the Spanish teachings for the physicians. So they moved that to Sundays a couple days ago. So when Keshe is watching us now, you've got to take in our employees from us. We need to share a little bit.
So just quickly, so Yasmin has been working with GANS in cleaning solutions.
Right.
She owns a cleaning business, and she's been putting the CO2 and CuO2 into cleaning products, and she's kind of been working that angle. She's also put together little disaster relief kits. They're really cute for the many hands, and the idea is in the workshops that we would be creating some disaster relief supplies and then donating them out. So it would be part of a workshop to actually get together and do that together.
They're in the back in that tub under the troop sign.
And then Linda and Heather have been working, of course, in the pain patch area in all the health patches, which they are really heading up the spearheading almost the use of these pain patches by sending a whole bunch of kits to their friends, probably 60 or 70 kits out you have now, and to do research on it so that we can actually give some information to everybody in the world about how these things are working. A lot of the documents she put together are on that back table right there with the white tablecloth, and she's put together information on how you apply the patches and things like that, because Heather's a physical therapist. And so that really perfect side of all of this. And then I've been working on coiling. I've also been working on really understanding what is plasma energy and how it flows, how to make devices. I've kind of studied about everything since last October. And we have Colleen, who's an amazing artist, and she has all these ideas. She's making us a many hands for peace, I would say, artwork. It's going to be out of copper, and she has all this inspiration for that. And plus, the ideas in the Many Hands for Peace workshops, we would be doing casts of all of our hands in wax, and then send them to her. And if you think about the forward movement of this, is that in 20 years or 15 years or 10 years, the world is going to know about all this stuff. Well, we're creating a bronze statue with all of our hands. Many hands for peace. All of our peaceful hands doing this work. And she's already found a property in Tacoma where this statue will reside. It'll be massive. So anybody here can contribute a cast of their hands to this amazing. We're going to learn how to make the bronze.
Yes.
Make the bronze and all that. So so she's got the artist end of it. And then Carolyn.
This is one of my sculptures that I've done. This is called Love Giving Wings. And it's more about, I know it looks kind of, but it's more of about the male spirit, lifting the female spirit to gain the wings, you know, that she needs to be free. So I thought that would be a great one to bring.
And did you bring the 100th monkey?
I did bring the 100th monkey.
Oh, you just done. Oh,
and I
it's
brought
okay.
a ship too that's called Brave's New World, and it's got the planetary systems hidden in the background and hidden mermaids inside of the whole thing.
We haven't got to the 100th monkey yet. Maybe it's one of the people in this room.
Yeah.
Tip the scales.
You never know.
Some of ours are painted with GANS, and it really makes it pop out more when you compare from a normal painting. It's really awesome.
The ship doesn't have GANS on it. The monkey does.
So
if you you can gauge. I'm gonna do a little bit more on the ship before I want to sell it, because I do want to put GANS on it, just because of the feeling that it emanates. But yeah, you're welcome to kind of get a feel.
And there's going to be hands in there that aren't just human hands. So it's about.
Or should we wait?
We should
Yeah,
wait.
let's do a little
We're
intro
just kind of
now
doing
and
a little intro. Carolyn DeAngelis is from Illinois. She came out and visited me several weeks ago, and then went on her own tour all the way down to California and then back again. And she does a lot of implant removal and work like that. She does sessions, and she's absolutely amazing. And also, together, we were putting together information to put together a device that you would wear as a pendant, and it would, go ahead.
Because you can pull this stuff out, but sometimes it gets back in because we all can't stay at the highest level 100% of the time. So I'm making some pendants that will be personalized to the person and the dimension and where they come from, that will help try to hold that energy better. And they're GANS made, they're copper made, and they have energetic qualities in and of themselves. So, yeah.
So, and then Nikki back there from Canada, she's been doing a lot of work with pain patches and tons of GANS. And I'm going to be back up in Canada. We're going to build one of Dr. Rodrigo's health units this Christmas. That's a part of the plan. So, all the women, Lisa McDonald is one of the gals in Australia, and she's done a lot of work with hydroponics and has huge success with her hydroponics. Yeah, so we'll see slides from her. And what's Liz Miller's specialty on there?
She's just a beautiful presenter of this information, but I think she has a lot of background in essences and energy work, and she does a lot of spiritual consciousness work. She's a channel of many beautiful levels of consciousness, and she's bringing, I think the point is that whatever your forte is, it seems like this technology has a little way of, let's take that to the next level, you know, whatever is next for your mastery, for your, you know, what you're bringing into this world, and it's helping everything evolve, you know. Definitely one of those inside jobs. Yeah.
Yep. Follow your heart.
Yes,
So
yes.
there's a brief intro to the Godesses of GANS, and everyone that's working with it is really part of this, you know. We just calling ourselves Goddesses of GANS. It's kind of fun.
It's just kind of fun.
And we want to put together a cookbook. So, anyway, all right, well, enjoy the day. Let Heather have the floor back.
Oh, yes, and this is the, do you want to do the peace treaty and your thing together?
Oh, yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay. First of all, this technology was released for this work to create peace. As you know, all the technology that we have been creating in this work for several eons of years, we are not using for the best research, for the well of us, the real well of us. Even it's technology like information or factual or that you can touch. So please sign up for your soul and for this technology to be released for peace. And this is a new age, and we are the many hands that we can do that. You are here and you are creating right now. And we are blessed for you. And for our children, for that baby, that we create a better world. And some of you maybe are rep students, and most of us, we know that we need to be prepared. So we, Mr. Keshe said that we needed to create something, and you can come up with ideas. And I just came up with this idea, just a box from the plastic box from IKEA, and I got a first aid kit, and you will have one if you can contribute for these ladies that are traveling in the old USA, and you have how you can use it with patches, maybe one patch or a balance patch, or for you bring it in your car and share it with your friends. And we don't know, sometimes the nature is trying to show up. And
is it this beautiful technology that have in an emergency kit?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Yes, and
We'll
everybody
talk
can
about what it's
afford
for.
it, and you don't have to buy a lot of things for food or whatever. If you're going to be so rich, and you can be safe.
And you'll be making basically most of the components of that if you're here for the afternoon session.
And get it here inside.
Are we going to have a raffle for that? Or are we gonna
Yes, like we are going to do a raffle, and
Okay.
you pay attention, and we're going to make questions, technical questions, and pay attention to your teachers. And we're going to ask you what is plasma and what is not, and what is the balance pins and what is
Okay,
not.
so we'll do that at the end, and we'll have them raise their hand. And then
Exactly,
we'll do it.
and the ones who pay attention, they are going to get one of these.
So there is a test. I lied. I said there wouldn't be
Yes,
a
there is
test.
a test. Always yes, a test. And it's a small, one of our friends here from the community, Erica, she wrote this as a movie that we are going to have here in the, I think, in Yelm area, and we're going to put it over that you can read about it.
It's called the Seed?
The Seed, it's called The Seed.
Is it at the theater or at the Yelm Trial Theater or the movie
At the
theater?
theater, it's at the theater, end of month.
At the what?
Where? At the Yelm Cinema.
Theater, at the Yelm Cinema, at the end of the month.
At the end of the month.
Beautiful. It's
Like
about
the seeds.
About like Monsanto seeds kind of stuff, probably? Okay, and then we'll talk about how this technology might have a lot to do with shifting that as well. Keshe says you can put the GMO seeds in CO2 water and it restores their original blueprint. So we haven't, I'm going to play with it, believe me. As soon as spring gets here, I'm going to be
We
playing.
can clean our seeds, and we are going to rid off of the GMO. We are already doing it, yes.
Can you do that? I'm a farmer, so can you do
Woohoo!
that? Can you do that in fields?
Yes.
Yes. I have a few slides on the agriculture section, and we can get you in touch with the agriculture side of this. It's huge.
And you're the seed of that.
It's huge.
No,
I'm going to get my legs off.
We're from that area.
Yeah, so much fun.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we keep saying we're going to start, but it's important information, right? Here we just brought, and we'll talk to you about that as you go around the room and the tables. So I think I'll wait and do a table tour until we kind of get this started. Take another sip. Yes, LB.
Make a contribution to that bottle is not just for gas. It's to sustain these girls as they're traveling across country. with
Well, they
all
gotta
the
eat
various
too,
things.
yeah, they're gonna
So
eat,
there's
and they
all
might
those
wanna,
costs
you
that
know,
they
have a
have
place
that
to
they really-
sleep, and
It would really be nice, you know, people,
yeah, and the turnout today has really been beautiful. Thank you so much for all of you guys. I'm sure some of you told a friend and told a friend, and the turnout is even better than we'd hoped. It's just perfect. It's just beautiful. Thank you. That helps them travel. Okay, I should probably start now, right? Of this one here. That's just one of the many things that Keshe says in his information. It just says, understand this technology. It's the essence of the creation in every way, shape, and form. And to me, How is my voice? Are you guys hearing me in the back okay, Linda?
Yeah.
You need to slow down and speak more slowly.
I
And
can.
tighten your butt.
Really?
That's right.
What does that do? It's going to help
Part
me
of your
raise my...
amplification system.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay. Okay. And please give me feedback. I am not a professional speaker. You know, like any of you, I have a regular day job. I'm just doing this to try to... So you're welcome to give me feedback. I don't take it personally. You just tell me, slow down, be louder, stop a minute. Send somebody else up here so we can hear them, you know, whatever it is. Whitney's going to take some turns with me so that we can not put you to sleep.
That's advice
So
from
that
an
wasn't any slower, was it?
Just tighten your butt.
I didn't tighten my butt enough.
He's an opera singer.
Bring it up. Bring it up. Okay. So I want to get an idea for starters who has even been playing with the Keshe technology in their home already. Like you're making some GANs, you're making some Nano. Excellent.
Now coils.
Okay, coils.
Magrav.
Magrav. By show of hands, is there anybody here that has never heard of Keshe and you just were curious? Wow, okay.
Awesome.
Just so I know how to gear the discussion, right? Are there any of you that are in the private teaching classes? Midnight and 5 a.m. every day of the week? Okay, we have a few of those. Yes, Colleen is always on there. Elke's always on there. Yaz is always on there. I try to get on there at least one of those and sleep a bit and then listen to the recording. Okay. As that kind of gives us a pretty good overview. This is a class that I did in Arizona about a week and a half ago, similar to this one, but it was done after a spiritual retreat, which is another good setting to do these types of things in. They already had the room rented and the people were already there, and this is actually a research group that we've been doing with about 100 of our friends using the patches. It goes Vanna. So, you know, we just sent them a little purse with the different patches that we made and said play with them, and they're being our research and development. Because this technology is at its infant stages to me. You know, the R&D is not quite been done. It's being done on the ground level by the people that are